Welcome to HOJO Radio.
Hey, where do you live now, Flo?
I live in Idaho.
And what do you eat now, Flo?
Eat? I eat Jell-O.
Jell-O in those 6 delicious flavors. Strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, and lime.
Jell-O, 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 Jell-O. Jell-O.
Be sure to listen next week when our guest will be Bing Crosby. Until next Thursday, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's #1 preferred brand of coffee.
The Cavalcade of America, presented by DuPont. In the onward march of events, there is a place of honor in the Cavalcade of America for the men whose vision and courage give America new industries. In the life of Henry William Siegel, the DuPont Cavalcade brings you the story of a man whose ambition and vision were far ahead of the business methods in general use in colonial times. Even in those early days, there were creative minds striving to bring more comforts and conveniences into the everyday lives of the people, just as today research chemists throughout the country are doing their part to make true the DuPont pledge, better things for better living through chemistry. As an overture, Don Voorhees and the DuPont Cavalcade Orchestra bring us a special setting of Only Rose from Rudolph Frimmel's ever-popular operetta, The Vagabond King.
Henry William Stiegel was born in Germany in 1729 and came to Pennsylvania when he was 21 years old. He found work in Lancaster County, in the heart of the region settled by the Germans, now known as the Pennsylvania Dutch. Around the fertile tobacco fields of this country were deposits of rich iron ore and limestone that supplied the busy furnaces of eastern Pennsylvania. Now, in 1752, we find Stiegel hard at work at the furnace of Jacob Huber, ironmaster. The day's work is done, and the eager young Stiegel approaches his employer.
Mr. Huber?
Yeah, Stiegel?
Could I speak with you a minute?
No, not now. Some other time. I'm in a hurry.
But it's very important, sir.
Important, eh? To you or to me?
To both of us, sir.
So? Then tell it out.
Mr. Huber, I want your permission to marry your daughter.
Marry Elizabeth? But you don't even know her.
I've known her for 3 months. That's enough to make up my mind.
Then why ask me?
Because it would please Elizabeth, and I'd like to keep my job.
You don't make enough money yet to keep her right. You must save your wages.
If I could, I would not save money now.
No, and why not?
Because of the future. I would put every cent I could find to make the furnace larger and turn out more iron.
But we turn out all there is any market for around here.
Then go further for your market.
I go as far as Philadelphia sometimes. I sold yesterday only some iron kettles there.
I would sell iron kettles to the West Indies.
What for?
For them to make sugar in. I have written to the Stedmans. They own the ship I came to America on, and they think it a good idea.
Too far away. Too risky. No, I'll stick by my market close to home.
But your stoves will last a lifetime. And when they're sold to all your neighbors, what then?
Time enough to worry about that when that happens.
Think of it now, and you'll never have to worry.
And have you thought of something?
Yeah, I have. I have thought of a new stove altogether.
Why, what good will that do if everybody has now a stove that will last a lifetime?
They will want a new one, because we'll make the best stove in the world.
Like the one in my house?
Oh, much better.
But that stove was invented by Benjamin Franklin.
We'll make a better one. Look, sir, I have here a plan for a 6-plate stove that will give more heat with less fuel. It has an oven and heats 2 rooms at once. Everybody will have to buy it.
We can sell them to people who have already stoves.
We'll send them to all parts of the inhabited country. Why, this country is just beginning to grow. Homes spreading everywhere. All we have to do is make something every home will want to have, must have. Then our business will grow with the country.
Yeah, that is good sense. You're right. What should we do first? Make the furnace bigger?
One thing that comes before that, sir.
Well, what is that? More homes?
Yeah. I'd like to begin by adding my home. A home of my own.
That's fine. Go right ahead. I'll let you have any lot of land you want.
And your daughter? I cannot have a home without a wife.
Stiegel, you make such plans. Maybe it is better you should be in the family than on the outside. So much ambition will be good for the business and make my daughter happy. Yeah, you marry her in the spring.
After Stiegel and Elizabeth Huber were married, he invented a 6-plate stove that was considered better than Franklin's. Then he invented a 10-plate stove that has not been improved on to this day. In 1758, Stiegel, in partnership with the Stedman brothers, bought out Huber and enlarged the plant to take care of the increased business. In honor of his wife, he called the new works the Elizabeth Furnace. In 1763, we find him in Philadelphia talking over his plans with his partner, Alexander Stedman.
Well, Henry, I didn't expect to see you so soon after getting your letter. You said nothing in it about coming to town?
Yeah, I didn't know it then. I just made up my mind. I have so many plans. I want to tell you.
Now. Before we get to plans, suppose we talk about performances. Where's that order for the new 10-plate stoves you were going to send us here?
Oh, we have been too busy at the Elizabeth Furnace to get around with it. I tell you, Stedman, business is booming. We are making money. I built a new house.
Well, if the Elizabeth was too busy, why couldn't the order be filled at the Charming Furnace?
Now, Stedman, you are not an ironmaster, or you would know that in the Charming Furnace, we make only...
Of course, you're the managing partner, but I can't see by your reports why the order couldn't be filled at the Elizabeth Furnace. Unless you've taken the men off the work to build your house.
Oh, no. Well, I've taken a few men off, I'll admit, but not for the house. For something much more important.
Ah, now we're getting at it.
That's what I came to tell you about.
How many men are off the job?
Only 3. That's all who had any training.
Training in what?
Glass.
Glass. What the blazes has glass got to do with iron?
Well, they both need very hot fires. And it seems so wrong to have 3 fine glass blowers making stove plates. No, I could not allow that.
Well, then send them away and get furnace men if it hurts your artistic soul.
No, I got a better idea. We keep these men and make glass.
What do you know about making glass?
I was apprenticed to a glassmaker in Germany. I tell you, Stedman, my 3 men have great skill.
And after you make the glass, what'll you do with it?
Sell it. Sell it everywhere. First, window plates and bottles, and then every kind of glass you can think of. Everybody needs glass. It is so useful and beautiful.
And so breakable.
Yeah, so we make more. Always we make it. Soon America will not have to bring in glass from outside. We'll make all of it. We'll have been trying things here at the Elizabeth furnace with materials we get here, and we can do it. Now, I will build a great glass house and make beautiful glass.
That'll cost a lot of money.
Yeah, of course it will. But we make a lot of money, too.
You can't make money selling a few window panes and a bottle or two to the farmers around Lancaster.
No, but if we sold to all the farmers in the colonies and to the cities, to everybody. If all the glass in America would be my glass, Stiegel glass.
Yes, it would be a fortune.
It would be 2 fortunes, one for each of us.
Where will we get the money to start it?
Out of the profits we make on the iron.
When would you start?
I have started. I have built what I call a small glass house at Elizabeth furnace to experiment. Now, I will build a great glass house.
When?
As soon as I get back from England.
England? I didn't know you were going there.
I am starting at once. I sail on the next vessel out of Philadelphia.
What for?
To get the best glass blowers in Bristol.
Stiegel, you're a hard man to keep up with.
Don't feel so bad about it, Stedman. Sometimes I can even keep up with myself.
When Stiegel returned, he brought back with him the best glass blowers he could find in England, Belgium, Germany, and Venice. Meanwhile, the Stedmans had bought 700 acres at Manheim, the last of the Logan tract, granted by William Penn. Stiegel's properties now included about 11,000 acres of land. He built model houses for his fellow workers. At each manufactory, as the factories were then called, he built himself a stately mansion where he lived in style. The noblest of these was at Manheim. His new business prospered. In April 1769, Stedman arrives at Manheim on an urgent summons from Stiegel.
Welcome, my friend. Welcome, Stedman, to Manheim. Music!
Good heavens, Stiegel, you quite overwhelmed me with this reception. You might think I was King George himself.
Oh, it is only a little party in your honor.
Yeah, but the cannon I heard as I approached the house, a salute of honor like that.
That was only a signal that you were on the road and would soon be here. It was a warning to me to come welcome you. I always have it fired when I'm on my way here from the furnaces.
Where's the music come from?
When I built the house, I had a bandstand railed off on the roof.
Well, so you have. What on earth for?
So all the workers at Manheim could hear it and enjoy themselves. They're almost as fond of music as I am.
You like music?
I could not live without it. I love all beautiful things, Stedman. But I love my glass most of all, because it is the most beautiful of all.
Well, I'll admit it is magnificent.
Yeah, and it sells well everywhere. You can even sell it in Philadelphia now.
But we have to market imported before they'll buy it. But why did you send for me so urgently?
Oh, I could not leave here, or I would come to you.
Why, what's in the wind?
Oh, it will keep.
No. I'm eager to hear it.
Well, come inside it. Come in.
All right.
After you.
Thank you. Well, what wonderful furnishing.
None better can be bought in America. This is the drawing room. Fireplace is imported tile.
That's so.
And you will find that chair by Sauvaret as comfortable as it is beautiful. Sit down.
Thank you. Well, you live like a baron.
Yeah, I feel like one. Just think. It was not long ago I tended furnace for Cuba. Now look where I am. All this. And I'm going to build more. Go further. All America.
Now, hold on there a minute, Stiegel. I see what you're driving at. But this is hardly the time for expansion.
Right. You have some news from town I don't know about?
The Townsend Act.
Oh, yeah. I know all about them. They tax foreign glass out of the market. But for us, it's a great thing.
The merchants of Boston and Philadelphia have signed a non-importation agreement.
Including glass?
Including glass. And the movement is spreading to other colonies.
Yeah, but that is splendid. Then you will have to buy Stiegel glass under its own name. And that is good luck for them. There is no better glass made in the whole world. Oh, you don't believe that, eh?
Well, experience has taught me to take everything you say with 100 weight of salt. But I must say, two men who ought to know good glass when they see it agree with you.
Oh, yeah? And who are they?
Well, David Rittenhouse and John Bartram.
Oh, yeah.
I brought orders for more tubes and apparatus they use in their experiments. Rittenhouse says that there is no clearer or more perfect glass than yours. He orders quite a lot, too.
Good. Yeah, but here's a scientist. If he had a soul, like a real artist, he would order Stiegel glass for his table. His house would be full of it. Why, at this time we should sell even more glass.
Well, but I don't know. The merchants are short of cash, and they will not pay. They won't even place orders.
Well, Stedman, we will not need the merchants
but you can't sell glass without stores.
Well, we can sell glass without their stores.
But how?
Well, we'll have our own stores.
But we're manufacturers.
Our business is to sell what we make. I have made arrangements to open stores of our own in New York and Philadelphia.
No.
We shall sell what we make direct to the use of it. We shall have stores everywhere. We shall cover all the colonies. People must have glass. We shall open these stores, ship the glass to them. Many people will buy.
And how do you plan to supply all this glass with only one?
I won't.
No, I should think not. At least you'll have to go slow this time and keep your markets within your ability to supply and finance them.
But we are working overtime to supply them.
Yeah, not when you declare a holiday in honor of my arrival.
Oh, my men work better when they are happy. And anyway, it's not a full holiday.
And I didn't see a single stack smoking in the glass house.
Of course not. The fires have all been drawn.
What? You mean the men aren't working at all?
Oh, of course they are working. They are working like demons.
Well, what are they doing?
They are building my second glass house.
With 2 glass houses at Manheim and the Elizabeth and charming furnaces casting iron stoves, kettles, and other necessities, the Stiegel fortune and business grew to great proportions for colonial times. But his business was built on credit. The house of Stiegel towered high and glittered gorgeously in the light of public appraisal, but it was truly a house of glass, though no stress or strain had ever tested it. In the year 1772, Stiegel was apparently at his peak. One Sunday, after service in the little church he had helped to build, he stepped out into the warm spring sunlight.
Good morning, Mr. Stiegel. Good morning, Pastor Muhlenberg. It's a fine day, huh? Such a blue in the sky, made of so green. Oh, bluer or greener than the fine glass you make, sir. Danke. As fresh and good to see as the great truth you tell us on Sunday, Pastor. Oh, I am afraid it is flattery to compare my poor preaching to your glass, Mr. Stiegel. And yet, both are inspired by something mightier than ourselves, filled with a spirit infinitely capable of beauty. Good, Pastor, good. Yeah, but fair words should be matched with fair deeds. Oh, I suppose you refer to the mortgage you hold on our church? The parish undertook to pay for half if I paid half. Yeah, that is true, but times are uncertain and, well, we cannot meet the note reasonable as your terms are. Yeah, I thought as much, Pastor. So I brought the note with me. You want the land back again? I've preached to the men often in my private chapel, but I cannot use a church as well as you, sir. So take the note and do what you will with it. That is like you, Mr. Stiegel. I am glad to say I am not surprised. But
It will take a consideration to make it legal.
Very well. My terms are 5 shillings in cash.
And for the ground rent?
Let me see. 1 red rose in June each year, forever.
I think I can accept the terms for the parish there.
Eagle!
Who's that?
Oh, it looks like Mr. Dickinson.
Eagle!
Yeah, this way. I wonder what brings my attorney here in such a haste on a Sunday.
If you excuse me, sir.
Yeah, of course. Hey, Dickinson. Well, this is an unexpected visit.
It's unexpected business.
Business on a Sunday?
Yes, tomorrow will be too late. Monday is the day set.
The day set for what?
The action taken against you by one of your creditors.
Creditors?
Yes, creditors. Good heaven, man, you realize you have creditors, don't you?
Why, yes, of course. Dozens of them. But what of that? My whole business is done on credit.
Well, here's one man who wants cash. He's got a judgment against you from the court.
Yeah? How much is it?
Well, fortunately, it's only for a little over £5.
£5? Might as well be 1,000.
What, you mean you haven't got £5?
Not in cash. Why should I have? I never need cash here. I have everything.
Everything on credit. Why, I had no idea things were so bad.
Oh, things are not bad. They are wonderful. We have more orders for glass than ever before. We can't supply the orders. We'll have to build another glass house if this keeps up.
Another one when you can't pay for this one? Are you mad?
I have enough assets. It will be easy.
But the cash for tomorrow.
Oh, ask Stedman for it.
Yes, Stedman is embarrassed himself. He has sold his interest in all your business to cover himself.
What? Stedman has sold out?
Yes.
So?
You must get your business in order. You must liquidate and pay off some of your creditors. You must sell Manheim.
Sell my glass house? Never.
But it's not making much money. What else would you sell?
The furnaces.
But they're making so much money.
But they are not making glass.
Are you willing to sacrifice everything for a bit of glass?
For Stiegel glass? Yes.
In his effort to save the Manheim House of Glass, Stiegel threw all his assets into the market. But the commercial quarrel between the mother countries and the colonies had almost destroyed commerce and paralyzed business. Stiegel's industrial empire, overextended at such a time, fell of its own weight. First, the iron furnaces were sold to save the Manheim glass houses, but the glass house crashed the next year. By the end of 1774, Henry William Stiegel, the magnificent dreamer, the builder of a house of glass on a foundation of iron, was bankrupt. Of all his worldly goods, only 10 pounds worth of clothes and bedding were left him. It is spring in the fateful year of 1775 at the Elizabeth Furnace.
I say there. I'm sorry to interrupt you, my good man, but I'm looking for the owner of this furnace. Can you tell me where I might find him?
Yeah. He's up in the owner's fine house on the hill.
Thank you. Why... Wait a minute. Great heaven, it can't be.
But it is Dickinson.
Stiegel.
I was wondering if you would recognize me.
What are you doing here?
Where should I be? Except at Elizabeth Furnace. This is where I began. I am caretaker here now.
No friends? No one to help you?
How can anyone help me?
Well, of course, I most of all should know how hopelessly in debt you are. Forgive me.
That isn't what I meant, so there's nothing to forgive.
It's tragic to see you brought to this. And once you had everything money could buy.
Oh, I still have a fragment of Stiegel glass. You see? Isn't it beautiful? I have everything that money cannot buy. Good health, a place in the sun, an eye for good color, and music.
And why can't money buy these?
Because the good Lord gives them away. They're free to all of us.
Oh, Stiegel, how you've changed.
Perhaps it is a change for the better.
Are you so at peace with the world, then?
Yeah, if only I could pay off my debts. Yeah, but then that's impossible.
Well, it would be possible enough if others paid off all their debts to you. But that's impossible, too. Everything was done that could be done. I doubt you could collect another farthing owing to you.
Yeah. There is one debt I can collect. And I mean to collect it this Sunday.
Why, what is it?
The ground rent of the church I built my people.
How much is that?
1 red rose in June forever.
Even today, the Rose Festival is still observed in Pennsylvania. Henry William Stegall was nearly 200 years ahead of his time. His vision of quantity production so that a large number could enjoy simple articles of high quality was far ahead of the business methods in general use in colonial times. He developed one great industry in his state and founded another, blazing a trail that others followed later. His grave is unmarked, but his monument is enduring. It is found in all the principal museums of America. It lies in the fine form, the exquisite workmanship, and the splendid color of Stegall glass.
Meeting in New York City this week are more than 1,000 members of the American Ceramic Society. Men whose work is to produce china, glass, pottery, enamels, and tile that not only serve us all, but brighten our homes with their colorful beauty. DuPont salutes these men. Chemistry has done much not only to make glassware and other types of ceramics better and more beautiful, but to bring prices down so that everyone may enjoy such lovely things. Here are 2 new DuPont developments in this field. Stegall would have thrilled at the sight of the new glassware in transparent colors, blues, reds, greens, yellows, and other gorgeous shades. The old way to produce colored transparent glass was to put the coloring matter right into the liquid glass. Huge tanks full were made up at one time, and then tumblers and other pieces were cast or blown from this liquid colored glass. A great deal of equipment was needed, and the finished articles were expensive. Today, such costly and cumbersome operations are no longer necessary. Under the present method, plain glass is molded or blown to the right shape. Then the desired shade in one of the new transparent colors developed by DuPont chemists is applied by dipping or spraying. The color is married to the glass so that it is there for keeps. Thus, chemistry provides glassware in beautiful colors and with many new effects at a cost of pennies instead of dollars. Now let's look at a second recent development in ceramics, new type resistant colors. This recent chemical development means that decorative designs are now almost as permanent as either the glass or pottery they adorn. The colors in these decorations resist the alkali in soaps and the acids in vinegar and fruits. Even alcohol does not harm their beauty. You probably remember how age and exposure once caused decorative colors to darken or fade, but not these new colors. For once again, DuPont Research Chemistry has improved an existing product. Similar advances have been made in other types of ceramic ware. Such developments illustrate how DuPont chemists continue to create better things for better living through chemistry. Next Wednesday evening, we will present the story of the famous McGuffey readers, among the first official school books of the nation. Our story will picture forcefully the difficulties of obtaining an education in the old days, and it offers an interesting contrast with the varied educational facilities available to everyone today. This particular comparison has a pertinent relation to another feature of next week's program. In announcing an educational chemical exhibit with demonstrations which will open here in New York at the Museum of Science and Industry in Rockefeller Center, we will have 3 guests on our program. Dr. F.B. Jewett, President of the Trustees for the Museum, Lamont DuPont, President of the DuPont Company, and Dr. C.M.A. Stein, Vice President responsible for DuPont Broad Research Program. We hope you will join us to hear the story and to meet these distinguished guests when next week at the same time, DuPont again presents The Cavalcade of America. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Sandy Becker saying, keep cooking with Crisco. It's all vegetable. It's digestible.
HOJO Radio, we're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. The makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you the true and inspiring story of a lonely man who conquered his loneliness. Our star is one of the finest character actors of the American stage and screen, Otto Kruger. For more than a third of a century, quality has been a habit with the makers of Hallmark cards. They are the kind of cards you can be proud to send, proud to receive. That's why, through the years, Hallmark cards have been America's favorite greeting cards. So if you want to send the very finest, look on the back for the three identifying words, a Hallmark card. These three words are your assurance of finest quality. They tell your friends you cared enough to send the very best. Now to preside over the Hallmark program this evening, here's a young man well known to Broadway both as actor and producer, Richard Calmer.
Thank you, Tom Shirley, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was several months ago that I first came across a story in the Reader's Digest called I Like to Remember George Sexton. It had warmth and freshness, and I knew immediately that it belonged on the Hallmark program. But such a fine story about a little middle-aged man required a particularly fine actor. And it wasn't until many weeks later that Otto Kruger returned to New York from his picture-making in Hollywood that we put Robert Senadella to work on the script. The result, I think, is an unusually heartening drama, and best of all, it's a true story. The Hallmark program proudly presents Otto Kruger in I Like to Remember George Sexton. It has been an evening like every other evening in George Sexton's life. After work, he bought the evening paper, ate dinner alone in a crowded cafeteria, thought of taking out his car for a little ride, decided not to, and then went home to his neat little apartment in one of Chicago's less expensive hotels. He pored over his stamp collection for a while, read the paper, and then brought out the chessboard. Each evening, George Sexton worked out a chess problem. He would have liked to play chess with somebody sometime, but there was nobody to play with. Not for George Sexton, there wasn't. Now he sits at the chessboard as on every other night, and something unusual happens tonight. Somebody knocks on George Sexton's door, and when he answers it...
Hello, George.
George, how are you? Carl. And Win. Well, is something wrong? Did they send you from the office?
No, it was our own idea. Well, can't we drop in on a friend of ours?
Well, of course, sure. Just that no one ever did before.
Well, aren't you going to invite us in?
Huh? Oh, of course. Well, come right in, boys. Here, sit down. Take a chair in the corner, Carl. Here, Win. Let me get that chessboard out of the way.
Oh, you play chess, George?
Yeah. But now, don't tell me you play.
Me? I should say not.
Oh.
Oh, it's a nice little place, George.
Well, it's not much. Just neat. I guess a fella living alone doesn't clutter things up very much.
No.
Well, certainly is nice having you fellas visit me.
We came with a purpose, George. We have something in our minds that we think will be fun.
That's right.
Have you decided when you're going to take your vacation, George?
No, I haven't.
Well, we've decided for you.
I don't get it.
Carl and I are taking the last 2 weeks in July. We're going on a fishing trip up in northern Minnesota.
Yeah, that ought to be nice.
Do you like fishing, George?
Say, you don't mean... You fellas aren't asking me?
Yes, we are, George. We're asking you to go to Minnesota.
Oh, say, this is the most unexpected thing that ever happened. I haven't had a real vacation. You know what I do every year? I always wait until everybody's picked his vacation dates, and then I just take any date that's left, because it never makes much difference when I take my vacation.
It makes a difference this year. You're going to take the last 2 weeks in July. Yes, sir, and come to Minnesota with us.
Well, I certainly never expected this.
Well, why not? We're friends, aren't we?
Well, sure. I'll go.
Of course you'll go.
Oh, this is wonderful. How far away is it?
600 miles.
Oh, quite a train trip.
No, we don't want to go by train. We've got too much gear.
Oh, how do we get there?
That's it.
If Win or I had a car...
But, we haven't.
No, that's the rub. So you see, George, we thought that... I see. You fellas want to use my car?
Well, you do happen to have one.
I'm sorry, boy.
We can't use your car?
No, you don't understand. I'm sorry because you asked me to go with you just so you could use my car. It would have been so nice if you wanted me to go because I'm me. I'm not because I happen to own an automobile.
Oh, now wait a minute, George. We didn't think of your car. Carl. No. George is right. George, I feel ashamed of myself. I want you to know that Carl and I were just thoughtless. We do like you. I hope you believe that.
Sure.
But we did think of inviting you only because you owned a car. And I want to apologize, George. Come on, Carl, let's go.
Yes, I suppose we'd better.
I'm sorry, George.
Wait a minute.
What is it?
You fellas made me think for a while that my vacation might amount to something this year. Of course, well, I couldn't accept the kind of invitation you gave me.
No, we know that, George. We're sorry.
But I've decided that I will have a good vacation. Now, I've decided to drive up to northern Minnesota and do some fishing. And if you if you could stand my company, well, I'd like to invite you fellas to go along.
This must be it. Yep. Now, let's find out.
Yeah, let's stretch your legs anyway, huh?
Hey, boys.
Yes, sir?
Your father around here?
No, sir, I haven't any father.
Oh, well, we're looking for the owner of this place.
I'm the owner.
A young boy like you?
Yes, sir, I'm Rocky Duncan.
Well, they told us you might have a cabin to rent.
I have. This one right here, I just finished building it.
Oh, all by yourself?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll be darned.
The cabin hasn't got a cook stove yet, but if you want to rent it, you can cook with me in the big cabin and we can all eat together. That is, if you don't mind.
Now, let's take a look at the cabin.
All right, come on. Here you are.
Hey, this is beautiful. Carl, come here. Take a look at this fire. Look at the view of the lake, Win.
You built all this yourself, Rocky?
Yes, sir.
You mean furniture, too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you're quite a boy, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know.
I do.
Well, Rocky, we'd like to rent it for 2 weeks.
How much is it? Oh, $20. If you can give me $20, I can get a mail-order cook stove.
And good enough.
We'll take, not for $20, we won't.
Oh, gee, I thought you liked it, sir.
I do, not for $20. We counted on paying $40. And $40 is what you'll get, Rocky. Hello, Rocky.
Come in. Oh, Mr. Sexton.
Hello, Rocky.
Oh, come right in. Sit down, Mr. Sexton.
I don't want to interrupt your eating.
Oh, that's all right, sir. I'm glad of the company.
Yeah. It's a wonderful supper you cooked tonight, Rocky.
Oh, thanks.
Carla and Wynn, they're playing gin rummy over in the cabin. I didn't have anything to do, so I'd like to visit you.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
You don't play chess by any chance, do you? I have a portable chess set.
No, I used to play checkers with my father, but I lost all the checkers.
Oh.
Maybe I could learn to play chess.
Well, huh? Well, would you really like to?
Oh, I'd love to, Mr. Sexton.
Now, see, why don't you cut out that Mrs. X and stuff? Call me George.
Okay, George. Get out your chess set.
Yeah, it's nice and peaceful out here on the lake. Rocky?
You bet it is, George. Gee, it's a great country. You want me to take the oars?
No. Well, got the hang of them now.
Wait till they see the fish you caught.
Wait till they taste the fish I caught, eh? Yeah.
You know, you're different from Carl and Wynn, George.
Sure. I'm older.
Yeah, I suppose that's it.
Yeah. Funny thing there, Rocky.
Oh, what is?
Yeah, you seem older than Carl and Wynn.
Me?
Yeah. You seem more like... I don't know. Funny thing to say, but...
I seem more like you?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I can't express it, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, maybe we're both a couple of old men here, Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you've had a hard time of it, Rocky, since your folks died.
Oh, I don't know.
I know, I can tell. I had to work all my life. I can tell when somebody else had the same kind of experience. I'd have known about you, Rocky, no matter where I met you. I could have told that you had to work like me, that you had no one to turn to like me, that you were, well, lonely.
Like you, George?
Yeah, like me, Rocky.
I see.
Yeah, that's the way it's been for you, hasn't it, Rocky?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, don't get me wrong, though. I like the woods and the lake. Even in the wintertime, I like it, but...
But it is lonely.
Yeah. And one other thing.
Okay. I better know. I better know, because it happened to me, too. When I was a young boy, I bet you're sorry you had to leave school.
Gee, you certainly understand a guy, George. Before my dad died, I was slated to be a doctor.
I see. Rocky.
Yes?
You could still be a doctor.
Well, not likely.
Yes, you could.
I haven't even finished high school.
All right, there are lots of high schools in Chicago.
What?
I mean it. Now, listen, you come back to Chicago with me, Rocky. I've got a nice little hotel apartment. You could live with me and go to school. I wouldn't bother you when you were studying, and I might even help you. I'm pretty good at math. Now, how about it, Rocky?
Oh, I couldn't take all that from you, George.
You mean you couldn't give all that to me, Rocky?
Give?
Yes, sir.
I see. Well, I guess neither of us will be lonely this winter, George.
Otto Kruger will be back in just a moment with the second act of tonight's Hallmark drama from the pages of the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. Now, here's Tom Shirley with an announcement that I think is particularly interesting and important at this time.
Have you seen the December issue of Esquire or Field and Stream? If you have, you've probably noticed that colorful picture of the new Hallmark Christmas cards for men. Yes, the makers of Hallmark cards have created a line of cards especially for men to send. 12 exclusive new Christmas cards with beautiful reproductions of Lynn Hunt's famous paintings, Game Birds of America. You should see these new Hallmark cards.
I have seen them, Tom, and they're cards to set you dreaming. They show ring-necked pheasants, quail, mallard, and many other favorite game birds, and all in their natural setting and full, rich color. They're cards to say Merry Christmas in a way that truly appeals to men. So tomorrow, go to your friendly Hallmark dealers and ask to see the Hallmark Game Bird cards, the new Christmas cards for men.
And remember, when you send any Hallmark cards, you send the finest. Because for more than a third of a century, quality has been a habit with the makers of Hallmark cards. So at Christmas and on every occasion, look on the back of the card you send for those 3 identifying words, a Hallmark card. Those words tell your friends you cared enough to choose the very best.
Back in Chicago, George Sexton buys Rocky 2 new suits of clothes and enrolls him in the John Marshall High School. Rocky has begun a new life. George seems to have begun a new life, too. Everybody notices that.
My gosh, Carl. Look at the way George is attacking his work.
You know, Mr. Mr. Sexton, you look younger somehow.
Here's your paper, Mr. Sexton. Say, what are you always smiling to yourself about these days?
You wanted me, Mr. Farnsworth?
Yes, George, yes. George, you've been with the company how long?
32 years.
Oh, well, that's a long time. You know, I always thought we appreciated you, George.
Well, I always felt you did, Mr. Farnsworth.
In fact, I had you classified as, well, not very brilliant, perhaps, but loyal and dependable. But, you know, I guess I made a mistake.
Oh, is there anything wrong with my work, Mr. Farnsworth?
Oh, no, George. The mistake I made was that I underestimated you. You seem to have changed. That doesn't generally happen to a man of your age, George. The work you've been turning out lately is, well, it is brilliant. And I want you to know I appreciate you at last.
Well, Rocky. Oh, hello, George.
Studying?
That's right. I got my report card today.
Oh, good.
Here it is.
Feel like a father. It's a good feeling, too, Rocky. Yeah, let's see now. Oh, say, this is wonderful. 93, 92, well.
I'm glad you're pleased, George.
Well, aren't you?
Sure.
Eh? Sound doubtful.
Oh, no, honest. I feel good about the card.
Well, why, Rocky, you sound weary. You sound as old as me.
I feel all right.
Oh, you can't fool me. Tell you what I think. I think you've been overworking.
No.
Oh, yes, and you're going to put a stop to it. What do you say we go out to the Navy Pier Saturday, huh?
Okay, George.
We'll bring Win along. Win likes you, Rocky.
Okay, George. We'll go out to the Navy Pier.
Oh, a day like that'll bring you out of yourself.
Sure. Sure it will. I hope so.
George. Well, no wonder we got separated in this crowd.
Say,
where's Rocky?
Huh? I thought he was with you.
No.
Well, I'm not worried about him. Rocky can take care of himself, but I guess we better look for him.
George, I think I know where we'll find him.
Huh? Where?
Come on. He was with me, George. Told me he was going to try to find you. But I thought he was looking pretty longingly out there toward the lakefront. He seemed lonesome, George.
Lakefront? Huh? See, is that Rocky sitting out there on the pier?
Yeah, it looks like him.
Rocky! Rocky! Rocky.
Oh, hello, George.
Hello, Rocky.
Win.
Yeah, we missed you.
Oh, I just found it quieter out here.
That's all right. Mind if we stay here with you for a while?
Of course not. Gee, look at that water. If there was some pine and balsam trees here instead of popcorn and peanuts, it would smell just like home.
Hello, Win. Is Rocky there?
No, is this George? Why should Rocky be here?
I don't know, Win. He isn't home.
Oh, well, he'll come home, George.
Well, it's late.
I know, but Rocky knows how to take care of himself.
But he never stayed away before, not without letting me know where he was.
Oh, now, George, listen.
Well, I'm worried, Win. I'm going to look for Rocky.
Well, that's foolish. You don't know where to find him.
Well, that's just the trouble. I'm afraid I do know where to find him, Win. Hello, Rocky.
Oh, it's you, George.
Yep.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry I didn't telephone you. I'm sorry I didn't let you know, but...
It's all right, Rocky. Been doing some thinking?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me sit down here, Rocky. You got sort of attached to this pier, haven't you?
I like the water. I like the breeze.
I know. More like your place in Minnesota than anything else in Chicago.
Well, Chicago's all right, I guess.
Sure, but you just can't help thinking of Minnesota, can you?
No, I can't.
Miss the smell of the woods and feeling you used to get when you stood at the edge of the lake and watched the northern lights?
Oh, gee, don't, George.
It's all right, Rock. It's all right with me. I suppose you miss your dog and clean, fresh air. I know that right now in Minnesota the ducks would be coming down from Canada and the big muskies would start rising out of the deep water. You've told me all about those things, Rocky, and it makes it easier for me to understand how you feel now.
Does it, George?
Yes.
Does it really?
Yes, Rocky.
Well, then...
Go ahead, Rocky.
Well, if it's just the same with you, George, I'd like to go back to Minnesota. It's not that I don't appreciate all you've done for me, but... Oh, George, it's hard to say it.
You said it, Rocky. I guess I was thinking mostly of myself and my happiness when I brought you here to Chicago, but it wasn't any part of my plan that you should be unhappy. You'll go back, Rocky. Hello, Mr. Farnsworth.
Well, sit down, George.
Thank you, sir.
George, I suppose you know that Evans is retiring?
I've heard about it, yes.
Oh. That leaves us without an office manager.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, how would you like to become our office manager, George?
Huh? Well, I don't know what to say, sir.
Something of a shock, huh? Well, I'll tell you, George, up to this fall, you never would have been in line for such a position. But it's just as I told you a couple of weeks ago. Your work has been brilliant.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yes. Now, as far as salary is concerned, I figured on starting you at, 1.5 times as much as you earn now, and letting you work your way up from there. Well, George, what do you say?
Huh? Excuse me, Mr. Farnsworth. I'm not saying very much right now. It isn't that I'm not grateful. I'm wondering, sir.
Oh, wondering?
Yes, sir. You know, Mr. Farnsworth, I've been a kind of a lonely man. I've lived alone. I've had few friends. I never married. And lately I've been taking a little more interest in life than I ever did before.
Yes, I know. It shows, too, George.
Yes, sir. I found that a person needs a great interest in life, something that'll take him out of himself.
Yes, like work.
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering about. I'm wondering if being an office manager will make me less lonely. I'm wondering if it'll give life any more meaning, or will it just give me more money, rent a bigger apartment, be just as lonely? And you see, Mr. Farnsworth, I'm sorry I'm talking this way. Would you sort of let me collect my thoughts for the rest of the day, and then let me come back to see you around quitting time?
Yes, all right, George. I don't quite understand everything you're saying, but obviously you do have a problem. All right. You think it out and come back to see me at 5 o'clock.
Yes, sir, and thank you very much, Mr. Farnsworth. Packing, Rocky?
I'm nearly through. Did you get my railroad ticket, George?
Yeah. Yes, but I also, Rocky.
Yes?
You remember you told me once you were lonely in Minnesota?
That's right.
Well, you know, now if you built 2 or 3 more cabins, you'd need a general manager to help you, and then you wouldn't be lonely.
Oh, I don't suppose I would.
And furthermore, you could go to school, too.
George, what are you getting at?
I'm applying for a job with you, Rocky. I resigned today.
What?
Yeah, I resigned today. I'm applying for a job with you. As a matter of fact, well, I've got some capital you could use, and I'd like to buy in as a partner.
But, George, that's wonderful.
Well, I'm glad you think so, Rocky. Because, you see, I bought 2 railroad tickets.
George Sexton never came back to Chicago. He and Rocky built one of the finest hunting and fishing camps in Minnesota, and Rocky went on to realize his dream of becoming a doctor. It all happened because a quiet little man had the courage to follow the impulse of a kind and unselfish heart. Thank you, Otto Kruger, for a splendid performance.
It's a pleasure to play such a part, Dick. In return, I'd like to urge the listeners of this program to look as I do for the hallmark on the back of the greeting cards they send. That's a real guarantee of quality.
Well said, Otto. Friends, we'd like to commemorate this great American holiday, Thanksgiving, by having Otto Kruger read excerpts from Howard Fast's recent contribution to the Reader's Digest, The Time of Thanksgiving.
In this vast country of 140 million people and many million square miles, we speak in many tongues and many tones. Sometimes, though, we speak together in a song, in a cause, and curiously enough, in a holiday. We have a holiday like no other in the world. A day of Thanksgiving that came from the nation, even as the nation was making itself. We were thankful and constantly thankful because nothing is or ever has been ours by divine right. What we have made out of sweat, blood, and the faith in man. In Ohio, the corn is husked. In California, the grapes ripen on the vines and become raisins. In Kansas, the wheat fields are like golden sheaves. In Massachusetts, the pumpkins lie ripe and full. In hundreds, give thanks humbly and sincerely, for all's well in the land.
Thank you again, Otto Kruger. You know, one of the pleasures you look forward to most on Thanksgiving Day is being together with family and friends. It's that glorious feeling so well expressed in the old familiar song, Going Home, Going Home. And so today, you must have felt a deep thankfulness for the affection of those gathered around you, for home and fireside and contentment, and the happiness these things bring. And I am sure, too, you felt a warm glow for those far away who remembered you with thoughtful Thanksgiving messages. Just as you were warmed by their cards of remembrance, you can be sure the cards you sent deepened the meaning of Thanksgiving for all who received them. We, the makers of Hallmark cards, are happy that we, too, could share in your Thanksgiving. You're cordially invited to be with us again next week at the same time for another fine dramatic program brought to you by the makers of Hallmark greeting cards, America's favorite greeting cards. If you enjoyed tonight's show, won't you please tell your friends about it and ask them also to tune in for next week's Hallmark program? At that time, you will hear Octopus Roy Cohen's true story of a hard-boiled newspaper reporter and a miracle. And our star will be one of Hollywood's most popular leading men, Joseph Cotton.
Otto Kruger will soon be seen with his daughter, Miss Ottilie Kruger, in the stage play Little A. I Like to Remember George Sexton was dramatized by Robert Senadella from the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. The Hallmark program was directed by Mark Slobe with music especially composed by Jack Miller. Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. Shirley speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
WBBM Air Theater, Wrigley Building.
If you want to relieve headache, neuritis, or neuralgia pains quickly, try Anacin. The relief it brings is incredibly fast. Here's why. Anacin is made like a doctor's prescription, contains not just one, but a combination of medically active and proved ingredients. Get Anacin from your druggist, an easy-to-take tablet form. Keep it handy. And then next time you have a headache pain or suffer pain of neuritis or neuralgia, take Anacin tablets. For most effective relief, use only as directed. Anacin, A-N-A-C-I-N.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
The story of Dr. Kildare.
Whatsoever house I enter, there will I go for the benefit of the sick. Whatsoever things I see or hear concerning the life of men, I will keep silence thereon, counting such things to be held as sacred trusts. I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my sick.
The story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer brought you those famous motion pictures. Now this exciting, heartwarming series is heard on radio. In just a moment, the story of Dr. Kildare. But first, your announcer. Now, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Blair General Hospital, one of the great citadels of American medicine. A clump of gray-white buildings planted deep in the heart of New York, the nerve center of medical progress, where great minds and skilled hands wage man's everlasting battle against death and disease. Blair General Hospital, where life begins, where life ends, where life goes on.
Dr. Kildare.
Oh, hello, Millie. Why the shh? What's up?
Could I speak to you a moment, Dr. Kildare?
Well, of course.
Come in the reception room. No one will see us.
Why, Millie, how clandestine of you.
Dr. Kildare, my motives are completely above board.
Are you sure? What's your problem, Millie?
Well, it's Dr. Gillespie.
Now what?
I think his mind is going.
What?
Well, he's a little past the age when he could be falling in love, isn't he?
Not as long as he can open his eyes, he isn't. Why?
Well, I just happened to pass by, and I heard him calling a florist this afternoon, and I couldn't help overhearing what he was saying.
Millie, you should never eavesdrop on conversations that don't concern you. I told you were seeing too much of Nosy Parker. Whatever Dr. Gillespie was doing was none of the business of the nurses or the staff of Blair General. What was he doing?
Yeah, well, he told the florist he wanted some sweet peas for a charming young lady. Those were his own words. Charming young lady, he said.
Sweet peas. Living dangerously, isn't he?
And furthermore, he told me to cancel all his afternoon appointments at the hospital because he had a very important house call to make. Now, what do you make of that?
I don't know what to make of it, but the thought of Dr. Gillespie sneaking off to date a young lady completely fascinates me. I think I'll stop by his office and see what I can find out.
Kildare, why are you hanging around my office? I've got some thinking to do, and you're interfering with it.
What are you doing this afternoon?
I'm working. What I do every afternoon.
Got on your best suit, haven't you?
Well, what the heck business is it of yours if I have?
Fresh haircut, too.
I get a fresh haircut every week. Go tend to your patients and never mind me.
Oh, none of my patients need me this afternoon. Thought I might persuade you to go out someplace with me.
I'm busy this afternoon.
Oh. Professionally or otherwise?
Why, Jimmy Kildare, you think I am leading a double life?
Oh, no, no.
Ah, come on now. Sure you do. You know you do.
No, it's just that seeing you all spruced up like you are, seeing that glint in your eye and putting two and two together, well,
Well, I guess you got me dead to rights, Jimmy. There's nothing for me to do but confess. There is a woman in my life.
Ah, attractive?
Devilishly attractive.
Brunette or blonde?
Redhead.
Well, we are living dangerously.
Care to come along and meet her?
Oh, I certainly would.
Okay. Put on your best suit and get a fresh haircut and meet me downstairs.
Now, wait a minute. I don't do that for my own date.
Ah, you don't know how to live, Jimmy. In my day, we really knew how to make a lady feel important and sought after. If you want to come with me, you'll have to do as I do.
Well, it sounds pretty silly, but I'll do it. I'll meet you downstairs in an hour.
afternoon, Dr. Gillespie.
Good afternoon, Miss Henderson. This is my friend, Dr. Kildare.
Oh, I'm so happy to meet you, Miss Henderson. Dr. Gillespie has told me so much about
Come
you.
in. Just what did Dr. Gillespie tell you about me?
Well, I realize you're a little early.
What did Dr. Gillespie tell you about me, Dr. Kildare?
Not very much, but enough to give me the
Hey,
idea.
is Caroline ready for us, Miss Henderson?
Really? I'm not deaf, Dr. Gillespie.
Yeah, that is the whole trouble.
Yes, Carolyn's expecting you. And go right in.
This way, Jimmy. Hello, Carolyn.
Why, hello, Dr. Gillespie. Thanks for the flowers. They came a little while ago.
Well, I'll be hanged.
Sometimes I wish you were. This is my friend, Dr. Kildare. Jimmy, this is Carolyn Shelley.
Hello, Carolyn.
I'm very happy to meet you.
I've been telling Dr. Kildare about you and me, Carolyn.
We're going to be married, you know, Dr. Kildare.
Really?
Yes, as soon as I'm 20.
Yes, I met Carolyn when she was born, and it was love at first sight.
Well, I can certainly see why.
And so, every so often, I pay a visit.
What's that book you're reading, Carolyn?
It's Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, sort of like you and Dr. Gillespie, isn't it?
Yeah, very funny. Very, very funny. Yes, yes, yes. Carolyn, how do you feel?
I'm pretty good, except I've got sort of a tummy ache.
Huh?
Miss Henderson said I ate too much candy yesterday.
Uh-huh. You feel as if you had a temperature? Now, Carolyn, tell me if this... That hurts, does it? Carolyn, now, bend your right knee. That's it.
Oh! It hurts?
Kildare, take a look at these abdominal muscles, will you?
Mm-hmm. You're right, Doctor.
What's the matter?
Oh, don't worry, Carolyn. Don't you worry. We know just what to do for it. You take a nap now, and I'll be back to see you a little later.
Yes, Dr. Gillespie.
You know, that's a chronic appendix. Better watch it.
Let's talk to Miss Henderson. Carolyn's parents are separated. I think Miss Henderson had better call them, if there's any change for the worse.
I'm here in the sitting room, Dr. Gillespie. What did you say about Carolyn?
She has a chronic appendix. She may need an operation.
Oh, nonsense. She ate too much candy yesterday, and I told her while she was doing it that this would happen. All that child needs is a good dose of castor oil.
Oh, please, no castor oil, not while she has symptoms of appendicitis.
It's an old-fashioned remedy, but it's always been a good one.
No, Miss Henderson, no. I definitely do not want her given castor oil. She's only to have very light food. If the pains in her stomach continue or her temperature goes up, you call me immediately.
Oh.
Where's the girl's mother?
She's taken a group of models up to Boston for a fashion show.
Oh, I see. Well, if I don't hear from you before, I'll be back in the morning to see Carolyn again. Come on, Johnny.
Oh, nice to have met you, Miss Henderson.
Yes. We'll keep a close watch on her for a day or two. It's a darn shame about her parents. Her mother is a designer. Her father's a writer. Lives in Connecticut someplace or other. The two careers just got in the way of the marriage.
What's the mother's name?
Doreen Shelley.
Miss Henderson didn't look as though she had very much confidence in what you were saying.
I don't know.
I think we should try and locate Mrs. Shelley ourselves, just in case.
We're ready with your call to Boston, Dr. Kildare.
Thank you. Hello? Hello, is this Mrs. Shelley?
Yes? Who is this?
Well, this is a Dr. Kildare at Blair General Hospital in New York.
Oh, yes? What is it, Dr. Kildare?
This is just a routine call, Mrs. Shelley. I visited your daughter this afternoon with Dr. Gillespie. She has an upset stomach. It may not be anything, but we wanted to be sure we could reach you.
Well, I think I better come back in the next plane. I'll be in around midnight.
Where can we reach Mr. Shelley?
Oh, well, you'll have to try the hotels in Greenwich, Connecticut. I don't know exactly where he's staying.
All right, Mrs. Shelley. We were worried because both of you were out of town.
I see. Well, Dr. Gillespie has always been a worrier. I'll check with you when I get in. Goodbye.
Did you get it?
Oh, yes.
I knew if I stepped out of here for a minute, the call would come through. What'd she say?
Said she'd take the next plane back. Said we could try and locate Mr. Shelley at the hotels in Greenwich. She didn't know where he was.
Miss Henderson hasn't called, so I guess Carolyn hasn't changed it.
Hello?
This is Nellie Henderson. Who is this?
This is Dr. Kildare.
Can you come over right away, Dr. Kildare? Something's happened to Carolyn. Something's happened to Carolyn.
Hello? Hello? Hung up.
Who was it?
Miss Henderson. She said something happened to Carolyn.
Oh, you better get over right away to see the child. I'll make arrangements for an emergency operation. I want you to operate.
How can I? We don't have permission from either the parents.
I'll try and reach the father by telephone. You take the ambulance and get Carolyn over here.
She had a seizure of pain at her waist. It wasn't anywhere near her appendix. It was at her waist. I gave her a dose of castor oil.
You were specifically told not to give her castor oil. How dare you take it upon yourself to ignore a doctor's orders like that?
I didn't think it was her appendix. A little while ago, she broke out in a rash, and her temperature went up. Oh, here's her room.
All right, wring out some towels and cold water for me. Bring some ice cubes.
Yes, Dr. Kildare.
Hello, Carolyn. How do you feel?
I can't move. I can't move.
I know, and that's all right. Now, you just lie still and let me look at you.
Where's Dr. Gillespie?
Oh, he's waiting for you at the hospital. Wants you to come over there and be close by him. Now, won't that be nice?
I'm afraid of the hospital. That's where people go to die.
Oh, who told you that?
Miss Henderson.
Oh, Miss Henderson hasn't been in a hospital in recent years, or she'd know that that's where people go to live. Honey, in that hospital, you're going to be like a fairy princess. Dr. Gillespie and I'll fight each other to the death to see who's going to be your Prince Charming.
I'm so sleepy. So sleepy.
Here's the towels and the ice, Doctor.
All right. Here, help me pack this ice on her side.
Yes, Doctor.
There. Now keep putting the wet towels on her head. She mustn't go to sleep. Do you understand? She must not go to sleep.
Yes, Dr. Kildare.
Now, where's the telephone?
In the hall.
I'll be right back.
Blair General Hospital.
Dr. Gillespie, please.
Oh, I'll put him right on, Dr. Kildare.
Hello?
Oh, Dr. Gillespie, I think her appendix is ruptured.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah, she has a rash. It could be scarlet fever, or it could be the results of peritonitis. I don't know. We're going to have to operate immediately. We've been able to reach the girl's father.
I located this hotel, but he was out. He'll call as soon as he comes in.
How about Mrs. Shelley?
I left word at the airport for her to phone as soon as she lands.
Well, then I'll get Carolyn right over there. And if you know any prayers, you'd better start saying them.
In just a moment, we will return to the story of Dr. Kildare. Continue with the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Dr. Gillespie?
Doreen, I have the papers right here for you to sign.
Yes, of course. Is she all right?
We won't know for a while. That's right. Here, you sign your name right there on the bottom line.
There. Oh. Did you reach Jack?
Yeah, he's on his way down.
Oh, it'll break Jack's heart if anything happens to Carolyn.
Well, Kildare's the finest young surgeon I know. Carolyn's in good hands. You heard from Jack recently?
Not too recently, no.
Let's see now. How old were you when you two got married?
Well, you remember, I was 16.
Ah.
Jack was just past 18. Everyone said we weren't old enough, but we both were so sure. And we managed to talk our parents into letting us get married.
Yeah, too bad it hasn't worked out better.
Well, it worked out for a while. And then Jack's stories weren't selling. I became a model, and then a fashion designer. And Jack got sensitive about me paying the bills for a while. I don't see what it matters who pays the bills if two people love each other.
Jack Shelley's on his way up, Dr. Gillespie.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad.
We can go up to the reception room. Wait there.
Dr. Gillespie, how is... Doreen.
Jack.
How is Carolyn?
She's going to be operated on right away. We won't know until then.
Come on. We'll go upstairs and wait.
Scalpel. Sponge. Hemostat. Tie. Scalpel.
It seems like they've been in there so long.
Now, don't you worry. Don't worry. Carolyn couldn't be in better hands.
Oh, you feel so helpless, don't you?
She was crying for you when she first arrived here, Jack. She seemed disturbed because you hadn't been home. She kept asking when you were coming.
Things like this are rough on kids, I know.
Yeah.
But Doreen and I thought if we were going to separate, well, it would be easier on her now than when she's older.
I was very disappointed when you two broke up. Somehow I thought you were going to make a success of your marriage. I don't think I ever saw two youngsters anymore in love.
Well, we used to have a lot in common. We don't have anything in common anymore.
You have a child in common. You have all the plans and dreams you started out with. You have a future in common. If you only had the sense to hold on to it.
Doreen doesn't need me anymore.
I think she does.
You're right, Dr. Gillespie. I do.
Well, the truth of the matter is that things haven't been working too well for me, and... well, I'm not going to have my wife supporting me.
All the stubborn, selfish, stiff-necked attitude. Jack, I thought you had more common sense. Marriage is a partnership, isn't it? You help each other out in a partnership, don't you? Are you going to make your child unhappy? And your wife unhappy? Then yourself unhappy just because you're too pig-headed to accept a little help?
Well, I have my pride.
Pride. It's a doggone expensive luxury sometimes. It is, particularly when you buy it at the expense of love.
Well, I never thought about it like that.
Well, that's the way it looks to Doreen and Carolyn. And to me. Doesn't it, Doreen?
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah.
Jack, that's exactly the way it looks to us.
Well, it's completed.
How is she?
All right.
The operation was a success.
Oh, thank you.
I can't tell you that she'll live, though. We won't know that for at least 3 days.
3 days?
It'll take 3 days before the crisis will be over.
Can we see her?
Oh, she's under a sedative. You won't be able to talk to her.
Oh, but if I can just see her.
Yeah, me too.
All right, come with me.
Dr. Kildare.
Oh, it's you, Millie.
Yeah, come in the reception room where we won't be heard.
You know, Millie, pretty soon people are going to start talking about us.
Dr. Gillespie's been at it again.
At what again?
I heard him on the telephone ordering flowers again. This time it was carnations. I couldn't hear who he was sending them to because he pushed the door shut. I almost caught my nose in it.
You know what I heard him ordering this morning?
What?
A set of Grimm's fairy tales.
He's the strangest man. Do you think he's in his second childhood?
Oh, I'm positive of it, Millie.
Yeah, I thought as much.
Well, now, if you'll excuse me, I want to have a word with him about a patient of ours.
I want one of those dolls that wets its pants. Can you send one or can't you?
Why, Dr. Leonard Gillespie.
Kildare, get out of here. Go on, get out. Hello. No, I don't want a doll I can give a permanent to. What would I want with a doll I could give a permanent to for? Look, I want a doll that wets its pants. It's for a little girl, and anyhow, it's none of your business. Look, I don't want to make a big production out of this. I want a doll for a little girl. Do you want to send it out for me, or shall I call some store that will?
One of the things I love about you is your supreme tact.
Oh, go on, sit on a scalp. Does the kind that wets its pants get a permanent, too? Well, all right, I'll send out one of those. To Dr. Leonard Gillespie at Blair General Hospital. Thank you. Goodbye. Sprach. It used to be that you could just call up and order a doll, but not anymore in this age of miracles and science. So what are you doing up here eavesdropping? What do you want?
Just thought you might like to go up and see Carolyn with me.
I would. How is she?
Setting up today, making wonderful recovery.
Oh, well, let's go and see her. Her mother phoned a little while ago, and they're coming over, too. I'm anxious to see that family get back together again.
Yeah, so am I. But that's a little out of my line. That I can't accomplish with a scalpel.
Jimmy, my boy, when you've reached my age, you'll find you've accomplished something like that more times than you'd think possible. There's more kinds of heart trouble and more ways of healing it than you'd ever realize now. Come on, let's go and see the princess.
Why, good afternoon, Dr. Gillespie. Good afternoon, Dr. Kildare.
How are you, Carolyn?
How do you feel, young woman?
I feel fine. Dr. Gillespie, can a girl marry two men?
At once?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not without getting into an awful lot of trouble, no.
Oh, that's too bad. 'Cause I thought I might marry both you and Dr. Kildare.
Oh, you did, eh? You think he's prettier than I am?
Well, I do think he's prettier,
Out of the mouths of babes.
but I think you're smarter, Dr. Gillespie.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Come in.
Mommy! Daddy!
Hello, darling.
Well, how's my girl today?
I'm better.
When can she go home, Dr. Kildare?
A few days now.
There. Did you hear that, Carolyn?
We have a surprise for you, darling. Miss Henderson's gone for good. And Daddy's coming home to live with you and me.
Oh, Daddy! Oh, I love you so. I love you so.
Oh, baby. Just you wait till you see what we're going to do.
Come on, Kildare.
Kind of gets you to see people that happy, doesn't it?
Nonsense. Now, don't go turning into a sentimentalist, Kildare.
Oh, your eyes were getting a little misty in there.
Fiddly-dee.
You look pretty close to tears to me.
4 from 5.
Oh, your voice is all rough.
I am catching a cold.
You're a very inconsistent man.
I'm just not a sentimentalist.
That doll you ordered just arrived, Dr. Gillespie.
Oh? Well, take it in to Carolyn.
Oh, yes, Dr. Gillespie.
You know, Dr. Gillespie, you're a big phony.
That is a very shrewd diagnosis, Kildare. A very shrewd diagnosis.
In just a moment, we will return to the story of Dr. Kildare. And now, once again, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Dr. Kildare, do you know what Dr. Gillespie's doing now?
What's he doing now?
He's playing with dolls.
He is?
Uh-huh. He's in Carolyn's room. Go in and see for yourself.
Well, I will.
No way.
Why? I'm the doctor on this case. What on earth are you doing?
I'm feeding this doll water. Well, what does it look like I'm doing?
He's trying to get the doll to work. It won't work.
Yeah, these dolls are phonies. Fakes. Oh, the darn thing broke. Confound it, I'm all wet.
Oh, could be, Dr. Gillespie, could be.
Now let's give the doll a permanent.
Yes, I'd love to see you give a doll a permanent.
All right. Now, you've had your fun. Now, leave me alone.
Just as you say, Doctor. As a matter of fact, I'll promise you right here and now I won't bother you again. Until next week.
You have just heard the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. This program was written by Gene Holloway and directed by William P. Russo. Original music was composed and conducted by Walter Schumann. Supporting cast included Lorene Tuttle, Bea Benaderet, Marlene Ames, and Jack Edwards. Dick Joy speaking.
Remember, when you give the wearing parts of your car good protection, that helps it stay young and act young a long, long time. So give your automobile the modern method of lubrication, Gulflex registered lubrication. Here's why. First,
expert Gulflex operator works from a master chart of your model car, thus protects each wearing point in the chassis and body.
Second,
the Gulflex man uses not just 1 or 2 greases, but 6 special lubricants, especially developed by lubrication authorities.
And third, here's proof of how good these lubricants are.
In recent tests by Gulf engineers, Gulflex chassis lubricant, for instance, stayed in the shackles 30% better and lubricated nearly 100% longer than the average of competitive products tested.
So get Gulflex registered lubrication, a much better than usual grease job at no extra cost. Remember, too, that your good Gulf dealer is also ready with splendid motor oils and gasolines, such as Gulf No-Nox gasoline, the extra value gasoline that has been especially designed to stop harmful pounding and hammering inside your engine. Make it a habit to stop regularly at your neighborhood good Gulf dealers, your headquarters for making your car last longer.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
The Adventures of the Saint, starring Vincent Price. The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris and known to millions from books, magazines, and motion pictures. The Robin Hood of modern crime now comes transcribed to radio, starring Hollywood's brilliant and talented actor Vincent Price as the Saint.
Oh, open up, please. Hurry.
Well, to what do I owe this?
Close the door. I've been followed.
Naturally, you're a blonde.
I assure you, the men who followed me weren't interested in the color of my hair.
Don't tell me they were chasing you for your money.
No, dear, not my money, my life. Well, it's good to be here, finally. I've come a long way to see you, Simon.
Oh, well, if I'd known you were coming...
No, you didn't expect me?
You're as unexpected as Yankee bean soup on a menu in Moscow, but infinitely more welcome.
You weren't contacted? You didn't speak to Maxime?
The only Maxime I know happens to be a restaurant in Paris.
Oh, they intercepted him. And we were so sure he wasn't even known to them. That his cover was... We'll have to proceed on our own, Simon. We can do it.
Of course we can do it. But what? What particular type of melodrama are we playing?
I I'd better tell you the whole story, everything.
You have the Sultan's ear, Scheherazade. Or what is your name?
Claire.
Claire. Oh, sit down, Claire.
Thank you. I've just come back from Mexico City. He was there. He's changed in the last 5 years, Simon. You'd never recognize him. It must have been plastic surgery. He doesn't look...
I see. And now I know everything?
Did you hear something?
What sort of something?
Outside the door. I thought I heard a footstep. Simon, the blinds. Pull down the blinds. How stupid of me not to have done it immediately.
Yeah.
Why are you staring out the window? Is someone...
Is one of them a little man in a badly fitting suit? At least 2 sizes too large for him and a large floppy hat?
He's there?
Yeah, he's there.
And the other one, the large one?
And he's there, all of him.
Oh, come away from the window, Simon. You needn't bother pulling the other blind down now.
Who are they, Claire? Which wild Halloween are those 2 types left over from? How many more of them are there?
How many more? Hundreds, Simon, perhaps thousands. We'll never know exactly. We must go, Simon, at once.
Shouldn't we have a little explaining before we do any going?
There isn't time. Those 2 down there will be coming up soon, and when they do... You must trust me, Simon, you must.
Come on, Claire.
Is there anyone... Do you think we were followed, Simon? Is there anyone behind us?
Look, in Grand Central Station, there are always people behind you. Tell me, are we meeting a train or taking one?
Train? What makes you think we're taking a train, Simon?
Well, I should have warned you. Every now and then I get a little irrational. Like thinking the reason we're here in a railroad terminal has something to do with a train. Did I say something to frighten
Kiss me.
Huh?
Quick, hold me tight and kiss me as if you meant it.
As if I meant it. You mean there's another way? So that's why we came here. We must do this more often.
No, don't talk. I'm your sweetheart. I'm going away. Kiss me again.
Coax me.
Please, this is no time to joke. He's watching us. Kiss me.
Well, I'll force myself. Whew, Simon Templar, you dog, you.
He's gone.
I must remember to do something very nice for him sometime. And now, sweetheart, what does...
And now, sweetheart, we really do say goodbye.
We what?
We say goodbye. Well, come now. Don't look so bewildered.
Oh, but sweetheart...
Goodbye, Simon. And thanks for the use of the hall.
You forgot to close the door, Mr. Templar.
What? Oh, yes, so I did. But since it's my door, I think I'll leave it open this time. Especially since you're just about ready to leave.
You are wrong, Saint. I am not ready to leave. I have a few things I must do before I go.
What sort of thing?
Perhaps I shall kill you first. In fact, I am quite sure that I shall. But that is the least of what I must do here in your apartment.
Look here, if you insist on killing me, I'm afraid that I'll have to insist that you regard it as important.
Oh, it is important only to you and to the policeman who will have the tiresome task of finding out who did it. You will shut the door, please, Saint.
I will shut the door.
As for your new friend, Saint, the matter of your death will be to them merely a temporary inconvenience.
And for me, the matter of my death will be, I'm afraid, a rather permanent inconvenience. Well, so I'm to be killed by a Luger, I see. So glad it isn't one of the cheaper guns.
Ah, how splendidly you whistle as you pass the graveyard. It is too bad, too bad. You could have been so useful to us.
Us? You mean there are more at home like you?
There are more. Perhaps there are not as many as there should be, but we make up for our numerical deficiency by knowing that right is on our side.
It should be a great comfort to me as I lie in my coffin to know that I wasn't murdered by bad men, but by good men.
It is a great pity you did not think along those lines before, Templar.
Before? Before what?
Before you decided to join them instead of us. It is almost midnight. I hope we shall not have to wait very much longer.
We are waiting for someone?
A messenger with a package for you.
A package? How nice. Aren't you just dying to know what's in it?
Hardly, since I am the one who sent it to you. When the boy arrives, Templar, you will go to the door and accept the package.
Oh, I will, huh?
Indeed you will, and I shall be right behind you. And so will this Luger. Needless to say, my friend, any attempt to seek help from the messenger will result in not only your execution, but the boy's as well.
You play dirty poker, don't you? Who are you?
Oh, it does not matter who I am.
Well, it does to me. I always like to know who I'm being murdered by.
Oh, I am called Maxime.
Maxime? So you're Maxine.
You have heard of me? Oh, but of course. She learned about me in Mexico City.
I despise people who are abnormally inquisitive just as you must. But by she, I suppose you mean Claire?
Ah, that is what she calls herself now, eh? Claire. She's very beautiful, is she not? When I saw you kissing in the railroad station before, I almost envied you until I realized that you would soon be dead. What is it, Saint? No more whistling past the graveyard?
I was just thinking. So you were the one we put on the little performance for in the railroad station, eh?
Performance, eh?
And until you saw Claire and me together, you imagined for some reason or other that I was at bat for your team. I see.
Oh, please, Saint, do not waste the last moments of your life in resorting to childish ruses. I think prayer is much more fitting to the occasion.
Don't you see, Maxine? Claire's reason for getting me to the railroad station was to make you think that she and I were on the same side.
Yes, of course. And she was the one who knew that my train was due at that time, eh? Not you, she.
I was supposed to know when you were to arrive?
You received my letter, did you not? You must have. I received your answer. Oh, please, Saint, please stop clutching at straws. I am going to kill you. It is inevitable. You die as soon as I regain the package.
Oh, yes, the package.
It was fortunate that I had the good sense to send it ahead to you when the train stopped in Philadelphia, was it not? I should have been dead by now if I had not done so.
You know, Maxime, I find myself in a very unusual position.
Oh, I quite agree. It isn't every day that one gets killed.
I meant it's unusual because if I weren't going to die by means of that efficient-looking little Luger of yours, I think I'd probably drop dead from a case of acute curiosity. Just what...
The messenger?
My death knell, eh? Ask not for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Who is it?
Messenger. Package for template.
Do not open the door all the way. Act natural, perfectly natural. I will be right behind you. Remember, I shoot both you and the boy.
Come on. You're going to open up a ranger. I want to go home.
Coming, Henry.
It's about time, and my name ain't Henry. It's Morris.
Oh, mine's Simon. But in a few minutes, someone is going to change it to Mud.
What's the matter? What'd you jump like that for? Something jabbed into your back?
Jabbed into my back? No. It's an old family affliction, spasms of the Calabasas. You must let me tell you about it. It always comes on
not me. You don't tell about it. Tell your doctor. I got to get home and get some sleep. I'm pitching tomorrow.
Pitching? Say, are you a pitcher?
I'll say I am. I'm the best pitcher we got. Maybe you heard of our team, the Brooklyn Beavers?
The Brooklyn Beavers? Of course I've heard of them.
Yeah? Where?
Where? Why? Well, everybody's heard of the Brooklyn Beavers, especially an old Yankee pitcher like me.
I'm warning you, Sam.
You pitch for the Yankees? Gee. Hey, look, maybe you can help me with something.
Get rid of him, Saint, or I'll kill you.
Gee, another spasm of the Calahoosas, huh? Still bad the things that happened to former pitchers.
Yeah.
Hey, look, mister, can you show me how to develop a good wind-up?
Wind-up? You want me to show you how I used to wind up for a pitch?
Gee, would you?
Why, sure. Now, first you put this foot, the left one, out about 2 feet.
2 feet, uh-huh.
Next, clasp the ball in both hands and raise your arms up over your head toward the back. As far back as they'll go.
Like this?
That's right. You're getting it. Then using all the strength in your legs, all the strength, now you suddenly kick back.
Hey, what's that? Hey, what's that noise in there?
Noise?
It sounds like somebody got hurt and then fell down. What's this?
Mice.
Mice?
Yes, big ones.
You're nuts. And furthermore, you never pitched for no Yankees.
You don't think so?
I know so. I never seen such a lousy wind-up. Here's your package. And you can just forget about the tip, buddy.
Thanks.
The things some people tell you. And for what? Only so they can impress you.
Come on, Maxine. Wake up. Come now. It's time to be alive again. Here now. Sip some of this. There. That's... Hey, wait a minute. That's Napoleon brandy. If you spill it, Napoleon and I will never forgive you.
That is enough.
You don't feel very well, do you, Max? Is that any kind of a look now to throw at a man who's just been feeding you Napoleon brandy?
Go on, Templar. You hold the gun now. Get it over with.
You mean shoot you? Oh, I wouldn't dream of shooting you, Max. Oh, I'd be lonesome without you. Besides, I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to an inch-by-inch travelogue based on your trip to Mexico.
No,
You will get nothing from me, Saint. Go ahead, shoot. I will not be the first man to die for something he believed in.
Thank you, Nathan Hale. Oh, yes, I know, and you must try to forgive me, but after all, what's a little kick in the pit of the stomach between friends? Tomorrow, perhaps you'll be kicking me in the stomach.
Water. Give me water.
I'll get you water, but I won't give you water. You'll have to buy it.
Buy it?
By answering a question. The thing I found in the package, what makes it so valuable?
No, I will not tell you. I cannot. Water, please.
Maybe you can buy yourself a glass of water with the answer to this.
I shall not answer any question.
You have courage, my friend, but here's the question anyhow. There's a little man in a floppy hat and a suit that's too large for him, and another man roughly patterned after the Empire State Building. Do you know him?
Yes.
Your side?
Our side? No, Templar, not our side. Satan's.
Well, you have just won yourself a glass of water. Would you like to try for two?
I will not answer any more questions.
Stubborn little fellow, aren't you? I'll get your water. And then I will make sure that you will be here when I get back.
You're
going out? Oh, just down to the corner. I want to ask those two curious employees of Satan's just why they prefer to spend the night on the street staring up at my windows when beds are so much more comfortable. Excuse me.
Yeah. What is it you wish?
May I trouble you for a light?
Why, yes, certainly. My dear fellow, your cigarette is already lit.
It is? You mean I've been smoking all this time and didn't eat? How mild can a cigarette be?
You're gone now. No more talk.
That's amazing. This is the first time in all these years I've ever heard the Empire State Building speak. And just what are you doing so far from 34th Street? Ran out on your foundation,
You're gone now. Or I hurt.
Ali. Gentleman is just trying to have fun, Ali.
Ali? Didn't I read something recently about you and Rita Hayworth?
You're gone now.
You must forgive my friend, sir. He's very sensitive.
Oh, and very inhospitable. Now, if you were visiting me in my home, or haven't you acquired squatter's rights to this stretch of sidewalk yet,
I do not understand.
Then I will be blunt. Exactly what about my windows is so fascinating to you and this Near Eastern gargantua that you make a career out of observing them?
I'm afraid you are mistaken, sir. My friend and I arrived at this particular place only a moment ago. He was standing here ready to breathe fresh air, not to watch anyone's windows.
I make him to go now, Victor. He's good.
It's quite all right, Ali. Gentleman is just making talk.
That's right, Ali. I'm just making talk. As I was telling a friend of mine before, a fellow named Maxime, who recently returned from Mexico City, I said, Max, this thing you brought back from Mexico with you seems so absolutely worthless. But it must actually be very valuable since so many people are willing to commit murder for it. And Max just...
He's good. I blackjacked this man, Victor. I think I see you give signal. Is the right thing I do?
Exactly right, my dear Ali, exactly. And now if you will be so kind as to carry him to the car. I have a feeling the leader would like to have a talk with this man who calls himself the Saint. Wake up, sir. Wake up now. I said wake up. Herr Schmidt would like to talk to you.
Huh? What?
I said Herr Schmidt would like to have a talk with you.
Tell him I never see anyone without an appointment.
Yeah. You'll be respectful while in the presence of the leader.
The leader? He conducts an orchestra?
No.
Ask a civil question and you get a slap in the face.
Stand up, Saint. On your feet.
That's all right, Victor. Mr. Tembler can remain seated if he wants to.
You see, Victor, I can sit here if I want to. Yeah. And you? You must be Schmidt.
That is correct. And now, Tembler, we will immediately get down to the business at hand. Where is it?
You mean you live here and you don't know?
I have no intention of wasting time listening to your misguided attempts at humor, Templar. You know the object to which I refer. I must have it at once. You hear?
I hear, and 2 will get you 5. There are people in Germany who can also hear.
Shut up!
Oh, for heaven's sake, Victor. You starting that face-slapping business again?
I told you before. You have to be more respectful when the leader speaks.
you.
If you'll just untie my hands for a moment, I'll show both you and the leader exactly how much respect I have for both of you.
For the last time, Templar, where is it?
What?
The glass, you swine. The little whiskey glass that other pig brought to you from Mexico.
Oh, that. Oh, you know, I had a feeling it was that whiskey glass you were after.
Well, where is it?
Try the 5 and 10. Oh. You know, Victor, someone's going to have to cure you of that habit. You're going to hurt that hand someday.
You will answer the leader's question. Where is the whiskey glass?
If I give the correct answer, do I get to try for the giant jackpot?
If you give the correct answer, son, you get to die simply and quickly. And without any of your annoying little touches, my friend Ali is so good at.
Oh, you make it sound so attractive. The glass is in my apartment.
You lie. Ali and Victor searched all over your apartment.
The glass you're looking for is mixed in with all my other whiskey glasses. They all look alike.
Again, you lie. I brought it back here, all of your whiskey glasses.
Now, that's dishonest.
And the one we want is not amongst them. For the last time, say, what did you do with it?
Very well, Vic. I guess I know when I'm licked.
Now you're getting wise.
The glass is in a check locker at Grand Central Station.
A check locker? The key to the locker. There's the key.
Well, I'd be very happy to go home and get it for you.
That will not be necessary. Just tell us where the key is hidden.
It's hidden in the lamp on my desk.
In a lamp? Where in the lamp?
In the socket, where the bulb screws on. Just unscrew the bulb and put your finger inside the socket. You'll get it.
You'd better be telling the truth, Templar. I'll go at once, Herr Schmidt. You will come with me?
Yeah. And him?
He's well tied. Besides, Ali will return in a little while.
And before you go, Victor, suppose you answer me a question.
Uh-huh.
Tell me, who is your tailor?
My tailor?
Yes, I've been admiring that suit you have on. I think it's very considerate of your tailor to make it 2 sizes too large in case you have a friend visiting. Oh, my goodness.
The rest I say for Ali. He will do his best to entertain you while we are gone. He will do tricks for you.
Oh, nice.
All sorts of tricks with hot irons and lighted matches. And you will see. Let us go, Herr Fuhrer.
After you, mein Herr. After you.
Soon. Iron will get hot. Iron will get very hot.
Oh, I send my laundry out, Ollie.
It burned through skin. You like that, huh?
Oh, love it, but I'm a little disappointed in you, Ollie. Your friend Victor claimed that you had some fresh and original ideas. That hot iron stuff goes back to the Middle Ages. Which is where I wouldn't mind going back to right now.
I know business. Best torture man in whole world.
You?
You know better one.
Sure.
Who?
Me.
You torture man?
The best.
I no believe.
You mean to say you've never heard of Terrible Templar? The trouble with you is you just haven't been attending the annual Torturers Convention. Would you mind turning your head the other way next time you say Pa? That's the kind of torture I don't deserve.
I not believe you no torture treat.
Ollie, you just ignorant, that's all. Why, my butterfly twist is famous everywhere torture is practiced. Won first prize at the Iowa State Fair.
Iron soon be hot now. Then I show you.
Hot irons, high school stuff. Tell me, how many lighted matches can you put under a fingernail?
3 under each nail.
3? Only 3?
You do better. How many you put?
14.
14 under one fingernail.
Yes, sirree.
I no believe. You big shot. Liar.
So I'm a liar, huh? I suppose now you want me to prove.
Yeah, you prove. You show me.
Untie my hands from behind this chair and I'll show you.
14 matches. Big show of liar. There. You untie from chair. Now, you show me.
With the greatest of pleasure. I'm sorry I broke the chair on your head, Ollie. I was getting sort of fond of that chair.
Hello, Simon.
Sweetheart, you've come back to me.
Yes, I've come back, but it's too late, I'm afraid.
Oh, too late? Don't be silly, Claire. Grand Central Station's open all night, or should we do our kissing right here?
Oh, please, Simon, I'm not in the mood for banner. There's a man here in your apartment. He's in the other room.
That's Maxine. Surely you remember good old Maxine.
Oh, yes, I have much reason to remember Maxine. He's dead.
Dead?
He was shot.
Oh, that's too bad. He was a game little guy.
You killed him?
No, the unholy twosome was here looking for the glass. They did it.
The little man in the badly fitting coat and the giant Arab?
Yes.
I should have guessed. But the whiskey glass, Simon. What happened to the whiskey glass?
They have it. Victor and the man he calls the leader.
The leader? He's in New York?
Herr Schmidt is here, all right, but believes me not to stay, nor is Victor long for this world. Now I'm going to ask some questions, and what's more, I'm going to get some answers.
Yes, Simon, I think you're entitled to some answers. You don't know why the glass is so important, do you?
Obviously, it carries somebody's fingerprints. I can't think of any other reason why a 10-cent whiskey glass could be important, but whose?
You have heard of Karl Bruder?
Karl Bruder. Bruder, yes. Hitler's heir apparent. The man selected most likely to succeed him, but he's dead.
It was never completely proven. He was thought to be dead.
Go on, Claire.
We have an organization among some of my countrymen which has sworn to track these beasts down. Well, we found Karl Bruder, our biggest prize, in Mexico City. He'd had his face changed by surgery. He no longer was the fancy dresser he used to be. They used to call him the Nazi Beau Brummel. But still, adding together 100 minute facts and clues, we knew it was Bruder.
Well, why didn't you tell the government, Claire? They'd have taken over from there on.
Well, because everyone now takes it for granted that Bruder's dead. They can't conceive that he's alive.
So you got his fingerprints, the one thing that couldn't change, that would prove that Bruder was alive.
Yes. We were going to send the glass to Germany to have the prints compared with the set of prints known to be Bruder's that exist there. Then they would have believed us. Then they'd have to arrest him and make him answer for his crimes.
But Bruder got wise.
Oh, he knew that someone had gotten hold of the glass with his fingerprints. It was life or death to him to get it back. I was charged with bringing the glass here.
And Maxine?
Maxine. Poor Maxine. I was stupid. I didn't know.
Know what?
Ours is not a very closely knit organization, Simon. The members seldom meet each other, and, well...
You mean you and poor Maxine were playing on the same team?
Yes, but we didn't know. Neither of us knew. We each thought...
It's too bad. When you heard that Max was coming to me to help him, you staged that scene in the station to make him think that I'd joined up on your varsity.
Yes, I was stupid. Max would still be alive if I... What's the use? It isn't Maxine's life that bothers me so much now. It's losing the glass. That is the unforgivable part of it. Now Bruder will get away.
Well, you bet he doesn't. A long evening in Grand Central Station?
There's no one here, Simon. Not even a light burning.
No, and I was sure they'd be...
Welcome back, Mr. Templar. How good of you to return.
Yes, Templar. How good of you to return. And we thought you didn't especially care for our hospitality.
Or was it just poor Allie you didn't care for things?
Charlie? Torture man second class. What he doesn't know about our modern and improved methods would fill a morgue.
I see you have brought a guest, Templar. How nice to have you here, my dear.
Simon, I'm frightened.
Frightened? You mustn't be frightened just because I'm holding a gun, my dear. Dying from a bullet is rather pleasant compared with some other ways. Yes, Mr. Templar.
She isn't afraid of the gun, Victor. It's that suit you're wearing.
Stop it, Saint. I'm warning you.
Yeah, and I too am...
Well, the leader hurt his finger. It's going to look terrible when you salute yourself in the mirror now.
Enough!
But then, leader, it's your own fault. A great big leader like you should know better than to put his finger in a live light socket.
Enough! You will be quiet. You hear?
Here? You're rattling the ruins of the Reichschancellery. And they're such lovely ruins.
I was warning you, Saint. You're under dealing with a poor, simple-minded Allie now.
I know. I had to use deception on poor, simple-minded Allie. But on you, I'll use force. There. That's what I use on poor, simple-minded Victor and the glorious leader. How does it feel to be looking down the wrong end of a Luger for once, boys? Only for you and others like you, it's the right end.
Very well. You have won, Templar. But you still must prove that I, Johann Schmidt, am Karl Bruder. And without the glass...
Yes, that's true. I do not have the glass you have.
Ah, how unfortunate for you.
But I have a roll of film.
Film?
Yes, I dusted the glass with powder and photographed the prints. So I've got the fingerprints. And more important, I've got the leader. Right?
Very well, Templar. You've got me.
Yes, Johann Schmidt. I've got you, too. But it's Bruder who's the star attraction in my show.
But I am Bruder.
You're Bruder, huh? And you think Johann Schmidt, the German equivalent of John Smith, is the ideal alias for a wanted man?
It was an easy name. It was...
And the hotshot Führer lets little Victor precede him from a room. Oh, come. If you were the leader, Loudmouth, the Dictators' Union would have you up on charges for that one.
But he is the leader. He's Bruder, I swear it.
Sure, and Claire and I are Hansel and Gretel. You're Karl Bruder, little man. That's why you wear such a badly fitting suit. Bruder was the Nazi Beau Brummel, so your disguise called for you to get as far away from elegance as you could, didn't it?
No, it is not true. Schmidt is Karl Bruder.
You still think enough of good clothes to get furious every time someone makes a crack about your appearance, don't you? Look at you. Oh, that suit looks awful, Victor. It's got enough room in it for 3 ugly little tramps like you.
You just shrunk.
See? There you go again, the furious Führer. You know, when you get mad, you look just like that other tramp. Adolf, that is. But why worry about your clothes at a time like this, Bruder? What do you care what you wear when they hang you?
You've been listening to another transcribed adventure of the Saint, the Robin Hood of modern crime. Now here's our star, Vincent Price.
Ladies and gentlemen, in tonight's cast, you heard Sammy Hill, Lou Merrill, Gil Stratton Jr., Charlie Lung, Ed Max, and Ted Von Elf. This is Vincent Price inviting you to join us again next week at this same time for another exciting adventure of the Saint. Good night.
Next, Sam Spade on NBC.
Waiter! Phil, did you ever see such poor service? I'm going to call the manager.
Take it easy, Walt. What's mostly wrong is your grouse.
I'm sorry, Phil, but my digestion is so upset.
What you may need for your poor digestion is something that works after nature's own order. Try Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Good advice. When your digestion is upset and you feel headachy and irritable, take Carter's Little Liver Pills. You see, each day nature normally produces about 2 pints of a vital digestive juice to help digest your food. If nature fails, your food may remain undigested, leaving you headachy and irritable. To feel cheerful and happy again, take Carter's Little Liver Pills. They increase the flow of this vital digestive juice quickly, often in as little as 30 minutes, and you're on the road to feeling better. Don't depend on artificial aids to counteract indigestion when Carter's Little Liver Pills aid digestion after nature's own order. Take Carter's Little Liver Pills as directed. Get them at any drugstore, only 25 cents.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Granite Furniture Company with stores in Sugar House, Murray, and Provo presents... The Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the series of radio dramas dedicated to the supernatural, the unusual, and the unknown. Come with me, my friends. We shall descend to the world of the unknown and forbidden, down to the depths where the veil of time is lifted, and the supernatural reigns as king. Come with me and listen to the tale of The Mark of Shame. The Granite Furniture Company brings you the Hall of Fantasy. Listen now to original tales of the imagination and some of the classics of the supernatural as we take you down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy to the mysterious realms of the unknown. These are stories of eerie and fantastic thrills brought to you by your friends at the Granite Furniture Stores. And now for tonight's story, an adaptation by Robert Olson entitled The Mark of Shame. The blood that coursed through the veins of Cousin Andre did more than run the natural errands of existence. That blood fed his hates, his prides, his willful ego, till the end of time and beyond. Yes, and that same blood flushed a vivid red mark of shame in Andre's fair young face. It was phenomenal,
Nothing like I'd ever seen before. Nothing, certainly, like the welts on a child's tender back. This mark never faded from his handsome, womanish cheek. As usual, it had started over a woman. This happened at a masquerade ball given in the Palais Royal. A logical setting for quarrels over women, or privileges, or just quarrels. It was a gay affair. The women who followed in the footsteps of Philip of Orleans were likely grounds for controversy. One could hardly refer to their love as steadfast, for their favors swung from one brightly caped courtier to the other, from a fallen sword to a victorious one, with the swiftness of death itself. But such were our times, and in this colorful gathering, it was not difficult to recognize the predominant shade as a blood red. No need to mention the woman's name. It makes no difference anyway. She was not the issue. The issue was that Andre de Brissac, darling of the court, had been shamed, and I had dealt the smarting blow. I remember that moment with amazing detail. It was as if everything in that ballroom had suddenly been caught in startling paralysis of time, poised between one tick of the clock and another, one heartbeat and the next. Even the note of the music hung suspended, undecided whether to fly out the rich windows or fall in splendor like a Christmas ornament. I remember the dancers caught midway in a step, their faces turned toward me, the frozen gasp of the woman in question, sound that seemed barely to clear her lips, and paused in the awful highlight of that instant. And in Andre's eyes, poised the sharp, tempered steel of hatred and humiliation. Then, as if some unseen conductor waved the baton, the room was once more animated. The clock completed its tick, the heart its beat, and the note its soaring flight. The hatred of Andre de Brissac flushed from the eye to the heart to the brain, thence to the voice that made it live in my memory forever. But the most amazing phenomena occurred a moment later, while he still stared at me. For to Andre, there came a crimson blush of shame, clearly outlined by the very form of my hand, in the exact spot where it had landed a flashing, stinging slap. So it was that on that dim August dawn, Andre and I crossed to one of the bridges that led to the ground beyond the church of Saint-Germain-des-Prés to fight a duel over a beautiful viper of the court of Philip of Orleans. Andre stood there opposite me with his two young friends at his side. They were all scoundrels, including my cousin, sorry to say. They seemed eager for this sport. We must have made a strange sight in that golden sunrise hour. We had just come from the Regent Saloon, still in the costumes we'd worn the night before. I was adorned, if adorn is the proper word for it, as a Mississippi Indian, while Andre wore a unique hunting habit, copied from a portrait that hung in the library of Puy-Verdun, the family chateau. The orange and purple of his adornment looked pale in this early light. The mark on his face was all the more vivid.
I am ready, cousin.
Andre, when this is over, no matter what happens, will you promise me one thing?
Please. When this is over, one of us will be standing, the other dead. That's the only promise I care to make now.
That's true, Andre. But you forced me into a situation for which I have no appetite. I'm a soldier, Andre. It is my business to cut down my enemy. Now, I'm the better swordsman. That's why we must talk now or not at all.
Then if you don't mind, cousin, we'll make it not at all. As for your being a better swordsman, you'll do me the honor of proving your skill.
Your curly locks have sabotaged your good judgment, sir. The captivating ladies of the court shall miss their nimble-tongued darling.
Ah, but they shan't miss his boorish cousin. Enough of this. On guard!
On guard, cousin! You stand well, my merry fellow of fortune. But I could teach you much.
Conserve your breath, cousin.
Ah, your beautiful face, Andre. Your parry was poor. I saw it tipped with crimson. Your lovely powder bear would swoon to see that. It goes ill for you, I fear.
You glowed over a scratch.
Andre was really quite skillful, but not skillful enough. My contention that the court's fencing master could never compare to the art of learn or die brutality of battle proved correct. I mortally wounded Andre, and instantly I was mortally sorry. Life had been sweet for him as he lay there on the ground, the golden morning sun giving his beautiful features a pitiful glow. I thought I saw a look of despair come into his eyes. He realized that his lifeblood was ebbing away like a tide that would never return. He beckoned to me. And I walked over to him and knelt at his side. Andre, forgive me.
Listen to me, Hector de Berzac. This is not the end of us. I am not done with the earth. Just because my jaw will soon stiffen and my eyes glaze over, they will bury me in the old vault of Guivardin. But that is not the end either. You will be the master of the chateau. They may even laugh to think that Andre has been killed in a duel. They will sing masses to my soul, and I will be done with them all. You have accomplished that, Hector, but you and I have not finished our business. I will be with you when you least know me. Andre de Berzac, with an ugly scar on a face that women have praised and loved. I'll come back when your life is its merriest. At your happiest moment, I will come between you and all that you hold dear. And when this hand is a ghostly thing, dear cousin, I shall drop a poison into your cup of happiness. I shall stand between you and the sun for the rest of your life. Doubt not my will, Hector de Berzac. I can do as I please. And it pleases me to haunt you when I am dead.
I did not doubt the iron will of Andre. As he lay his head back on the dewy earth, never to lift it again, the chill breath of early morning touched me with inexpressible loneliness. I looked at him as he lay in his fresh, one world of sleep. How fragile he seemed, built only for lace cuffs and bright buckles. I could see why he had been such a favorite. I could almost, even now, catch the fiery twinkle of those clear eyes. And no one who knew the short manhood of my cousin could deny the great force of his tempestuous nature. No, I looked down upon that young face which I had marked so foully, and was sorry for what I had done, truly sorry. As for the curse, I took no heed of the blasphemous threats. I was a soldier. I had seen many men die for my own sword. Andre had done me a cruel wrong. I couldn't have forgiven it. Men had died cursing me before. Men who had loved life as rapturously as Andre. One more curse was... well, one more curse. I put it out of my mind. A very foolish thing to do. Andre's death had made me rich, but I found no pleasure in the wealth. This chateau, which had rung so with the raucous laughter of Andre's friends, became quiet and lonely. None of the servants showed me the slightest sign of friendliness. Even in the village, the children would shrink from me as I rode through. That's why I was so happy when the servant announced that Monsieur le Docteur was waiting to see me. Dr. Corday, I'm delighted, monsieur.
Oh, thank you, my lord. I have some medical reports on the patients in the village. I thought you might want to look them over.
I know nothing about such things, Corday. If there's no ravaging epidemic, I should be happy to dispense with it altogether.
Oh, there's nothing to fear. The usual aches and our share of deaths and our share of babies.
Good, doctor. Will you join me?
Well, I...
Do, monsieur.
Thank you.
Dr. Corday, what do the people in the village say about me?
Say? Why, the people love you, my lord.
You can dispense with them, my lord, Corday. I'm a soldier, not a court dandy. What do the people really say?
Shall I tell you?
Of course you should tell me. Why do you suppose I asked you? Oh, monsieur, forgive me. This is a bitter life. I have no taste for it. I'd rather be a soldier. I really would.
Well, in that case, you'd be quite interested in hearing what the people of the village say.
What is that?
That you have sold your soul to the evil one for your cousin's heritage.
That's really funny, Doctor. Really very funny. I never wanted this life, never once. I wouldn't hesitate a moment to trade it for a place in His Majesty's troops.
What you need is a wife, my lord.
A wife? I can't even win the sympathetic ear of a friend, let alone the heart of a lady.
It's a very gay season in Paris right now, my lord. You should find an angel there to take compassion on you.
Paris? A marvelous idea. At least I can be my own man there. Doctor, I'm grateful for your visit. Come in again when I return.
With a wife?
Who knows? In Paris, I ran into an old comrade, a sulky, sour old captain of dragoons. Many times he'd aired his displeasures to me. He told me a great many things about himself. But one thing he should have talked about, he never even mentioned. That was that he had a perfect sunbeam for a daughter. That her name was... Can you hear the music as I say it? Eveline. Eveline Buccleuch. Eveline, I've been a fool.
Is it wise to tell me, monsieur?
Wise or not, I must. Eveline, I've been a soldier all my life. I know little about what pleases a lady. When I take your hand, I'm filled with the fear that you will not feel as I do, that there's someone else.
There is no one, monsieur.
Thank heaven. Eveline, I've wasted the best years of my youth worshipping a wicked woman who cheated me and finally made a fool of me.
She was the fool, monsieur.
Bless you for saying that, Eveline. Well, you must know what I'm trying to say. I'm told women do know. I love you, Eveline. I want you to go back to Puy-Verdun with me.
Oh, monsieur.
As my wife. Will you?
You will have to speak to my father.
Forgive me, but I already have.
Oh, you are a soldier, monsieur.
But what is your answer, Eveline?
I will marry you.
Oh, Eveline, my adorable one. This is...
Yes, go on. Is anything the matter?
No. No, of course not. This is the happiest moment of my life. You are listening to The Mark of Shame on tonight's journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy. Brought to you by your friends at the Granite Furniture Company, with stores in Sugar House, Murray, and Provo. And now, back to tonight's story, The Mark of Shame. Puy-Verdun was not the sordid, lonely place I had left. The difference was my charming bride. Now, when I rode through the village, the children actually crowded about our carriage. I no longer feared the Debersac who sat beside the lady. Her charities had won her their love and transformed the gloomy lord into a gentle master. They even forgot the untimely death of my cousin. And I no longer hesitated with that strange catch in my throat to tell her about it. Eveline, I never knew I could be so happy.
I, too, Hector. I'm happier than I ever dreamed.
Even the villagers feel it. They used to avoid me like a plague.
You only imagine that. Why should they avoid such a gentle master?
Maybe it's because you've made me so, Eveline. I feel like a traveler who's just been transplanted from the frozen Arctic wastes to the heart of some green and friendly valley. It's almost... Oh, I don't know, darling. Sometimes I doubt it.
Why, dearest?
It seems almost fantastic to be so happy. I could be aroused so rudely at any moment with a coarse shout of reality.
You aren't dreaming, husband. I won't allow it. For you know, if you were, I would be too, and I wouldn't like that.
See what I mean? Nothing like this ever happened to me before. It's like standing in the bright sun.
Hector?
Yes?
Who's the lord of the chateau nearest to this?
What?
Who is he, Hector?
Darling, don't you realize that this is the only chateau within 40 miles?
That's strange.
Why?
Because I saw him again yesterday.
Him? Whom did you see?
I don't know now.
Suppose you tell me about it.
Well, in my walks about the park and woods in the past month, I keep meeting a man who appears to be of a noble rank.
Of noble rank? Are you sure you don't mean a peasant?
No. His dress and his bearing was that of a nobleman. I couldn't have mistaken that. I imagined that he must occupy some chateau near Puy-Verdun.
That's not possible, Eveline. We're in the heart of a desolate region. No, that couldn't be possible. Well, come here a moment.
Yes, monsieur?
See the picture there on the wall?
This one, monsieur?
No, the one next to it. That's right. I want you to...
Yes, monsieur?
I want a curtain hung over that picture as soon as possible, understand?
Oui, monsieur.
Good. Now bring some tea to your lady's drawing room. In spite of myself, I was disturbed by Eveline's visitant. That night I asked her more about it. Eveline, this man you say you saw...
Say I saw. I did, in fact, I do see him.
How often?
Every day.
Every day where?
Sometimes in the park and sometimes in the wood. You know that little cascade and the old rock work that makes a sort of a cavern?
Yes, I know the place. I used to play there as a boy.
Oh, I love it. I spend my mornings there reading.
And that's where you see him?
Yes.
Has he ever had the courage to address you?
Never. I look up from my book and he'll be standing there very quietly, watching me. Then I'll continue with my reading, and when I look up again, he's gone.
He must be some peasant out to frighten you. I'll go into the village tomorrow and see what I can find out.
No, Hector, he's not a peasant. He has the manner of a nobleman.
I suppose he's quite old.
On the contrary, he's young and quite handsome.
For the next week, I spent my mornings with Eveline. We took many casual rambles into the woods and park, but we saw no one but a few peasants or occasionally a member of our own chateau. These works were beginning to disturb the routine of my life. And since I was a man of rather deeply ingrained habits, my wife noticed the unrest.
There's no need to take these walks with me, Hector. You know you have other things to do. I'll spend my mornings on the grounds, and the stranger can't intrude on me there.
I'm beginning to think the stranger is your own fantasy, darling. You've probably met too many handsome cavaliers in your books. No doubt he's some Persian prince in modern costume.
Hector, that's what puzzles me. The stranger's costume isn't modern. Shall I tell you what it looks like?
By all means.
Well, he looks as if he's been in an old portrait that had stepped down from his frame.
It wouldn't have been a more startling blow if she'd butted me in the stomach with the end of a staff. I thought of the picture in the library with the orange and purple hunting costume Andre had worn that fateful night in the Palais Royal. But then something else happened to take my mind from the picture, Andre or anything else. For after a time, my wife, who had always been as lovely and glowing as the fresh petal of a rose, began to fail in her health. Her change seemed to have stolen up on her. Even I, who had seen her every day, hadn't noticed it until one day she put on a lovely gown she hadn't worn in several months. I was amazed how loosely it hung on her. Then I noticed her eyes that had at one time sparkled as bright as the jewels she'd planted in her hair. They were now quite dim and sick. Darling, how long have you been ill?
I'm not ill, Hector.
That's insane. You are ill. Quite seriously so, I might add. Stupid of me not to notice it before. What's done this?
I feel faint.
And she fainted. I caught her in my arms and swept her to her bed. Then I sent a messenger for Dr. Corday. Tell him to come immediately. I don't want a single moment's delay, understand?
Yes, monsieur.
I stood there as helpless as a child and watched my lovely Eveline seem to waste away with this insidious thing. I cursed every moment of delay before Dr. Corday arrived. When he did come, I rushed him to a room before he'd even had a chance to remove his cape. Then I sat and poured myself a drink for the torturous wait. But even before he came out to speak to me, I, for no explainable reason, had lost faith in the powers of medicine to combat the thing that had struck down my Eveline.
Strange, very strange.
Doctor, is she...
Frankly, I don't know. I just don't know, my lord.
Monsieur le Docteur, I mean, well, I was beginning to be afraid that she may be a little... Well, Dr. Corday, this isn't easy to say.
Well, then, let me say it for you. You're wondering if she's insane. Let me assure you that she is not.
Oh, thank heaven. She's been seeing some... Well...
Oh, you mean this strange visitant? Oh, yes, she spoke of it. It's possible that she may be suffering from some sort of illusion at that. But she's so rational on all the other accounts. I think that this person is quite real, at least to the eye. Usually, a monomaniac tells very incoherent stories of their illusions. Hers is no such thing. She speaks as calmly and rationally as you and I. Are you positive that there is no one who can encounter her in her walks about the garden?
I don't see how. The moat is 10 feet wide and continually flooded with water. Raoul keeps the lock secured day and night. No, I don't see how it's possible.
Well, perhaps someone related to your household in some way. A young man with a fair womanish face and a crimson scar that looks as if it might have been the mark of a violent blow.
Oh, no. The dress, Doctor. How is he dressed?
In a hunting costume. A purple and orange hunting costume.
Doctor, this... Oh, no. What can I do?
Right now, my lord, you'd better go in and see Lady de Bersac. She's asked for you.
Darling, how are you?
Oh, Hector.
Eveline, why haven't you told me? The doctor says you've seen the stranger again.
I see him every day. That's what's killing me.
I rushed down to the library, took down the portrait, and showed it to my wife. She looked at it and trembled like a leaf. She clung to me as if she were about to fall into some nameless chasm.
It's witchcraft. The costume is the very same.
Then she described his face to me, line for line, even to the cruel mark my hand had left. I knew that Andre de Brissac had come back to keep his promise. I took Eveline away. We traveled through the southern provinces and on into the heart of Switzerland. I wanted to outdistance the Phantom. It was no good. He followed us everywhere we went. Never did I see him. Always Eveline. That type of vengeance had Andre's touch. He used my wife's innocent heart as his cruel weapon. His constant, unholy intrusion was destroying her. Nor could I shield her or drive Andre from her.
He's here even now, Hector. As you stand there and I here, he stands between us. He'll never let me rest nor let me forget him.
Thus it was I fought like a madman against something I couldn't see, fought through this terrible void to get back to the side of my beloved wife. And then, a short time later, we were in a Tyrolean village. It was a brilliant moonlit night. I was about to speak a word of encouragement to Eveline when she spoke.
Hector, I'm going to tell you something so strange and terrible that you'll probably hate me forever.
Hate you? Why, my poor darling.
Oh, no, please don't sympathize with me. I won't be able to tell you, and I must tell you, I must.
Darling, you're just tired. What you need is some
Hector,
rest.
I'm dying.
No. No, Eveline, you're not.
Yes, I know it. That's why I must say what I have to say.
I won't listen.
You must listen. At first, when I began to see the stranger in the park, I shrank from him. He seemed terrible to me. Day after day he came. Then one day I wasn't afraid anymore. I found that I was thinking about him, watching for him. Then for a while I didn't see him.
Was that when I was with you?
Yes. Even then, when I was with you, I found that I was desolate without him.
Eveline, you don't know what you're saying.
Oh, believe me, Hector, I do. I wouldn't blame you if you killed me. But I began to count the hours to the time when I'd see him next. He took all the old joys from my heart and left me nothing but the unholy pleasure of his presence. Now, Hector, curse me, kill me, anything. Only know this. Whatever it was, witchcraft, the imperfections of my heart, I don't know. I only know I fought against it and couldn't win. Now I'm dying, and forgive me if you can.
Forgive you? What is there to forgive, my darling? This is no work of yours. Oh, Eveline, my wife, forget everything but that you're in my arms. Forget everything except that we love each other.
I'm dying, Hector. I'm dying.
No. Fight it, Eveline. Please try to fight it. I need you. I can't live without you.
Forgive me, Hector. I want to die. I want to be with him.
Her eyes fluttered and she was gone. Something more than the cruel lash of her words hit me. Even though I was barely conscious, I felt it. I got up and ran to the mirror. Sure enough, there it was. That vivid outline of the hand, full across my cheek.
So runs the tale of The Mark of Shame. Remember to join us next week at the same time for another journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy.
Tonight's program was adapted from Miss Bratton's story, Eveline's Visitant, by Robert Olson. Heard tonight were Richard Thorne as Hector, Beth Calder as Eveline, Archie Hughley as Andre, Ken Jensen as Dr. Corday, and Michael Orogo as Rowell. Musical background was provided by Earl Donaldson. The engineer was Nephi Sorensen. These programs are produced and directed by Richard Thorne.
Remember, be with us again next Sunday night on call at 9:30 when the Granite Furniture Stores in Sugar House, Murray, and Provo will take you on another journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy.
In the month just ahead, there will be many days that are cloudy and gray. Isn't it very important on such days to have your home bright and cheerful? Your kitchen especially, where you spend so many hours? There's one thing that will brighten your kitchen more than anything else. Gleaming linoleum floors kept fresh and spotless with Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat. Glow Coat requires no rubbing or buffing. There's practically no work to it. You just apply Glow Coat, it shines while it dries with no further work from you. It not only keeps your floors beautiful, but it actually makes linoleum last many times longer than an unprotected floor. Glow Coat is safe, easy to use, and sure to please. Try some tomorrow on your floors. Ask for Johnson Self-Polishing Glow Coat. GLO-COAT.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
On behalf of the American Heart Association, the NBC Theater presents...
Screen Directors Guild assignment. Production, Magnificent Obsession. Director, John Stahl. Star, Irene Dunn.
This is the Screen Directors Guild presentation of the unforgettable Lloyd C. Douglas novel, Magnificent Obsession, starring Irene Dunn in her original role. The motion picture medium is often described as the most magnificent art form ever devised, for it is a combination of all the arts. One of the most critical of these is the new and dynamic art of the screen director, for it is he who must integrate and guide the forces which combine to make the film. Therefore, it is with pride that the NBC Theater presents one of the most celebrated exponents of the screen director's art, the president of the Screen Directors Guild, Mr. George Marshall.
Thank you very much. I'm pinch hitting tonight for John Stahl. John, as you know, directed Magnificent Obsession and other such wonderful films as The Keys of the Kingdom, The Foxes of Harrow, and The Walls of Jericho. Magnificent Obsession is one of John's favorite pictures because of the appealingly simple manner in which it translates basic human values into film, telling of hatred turning into love and darkness into light. And speaking for myself, I know that you will enjoy Magnificent Obsession, starring Irene Dunn in her original role as Helen Hudson.
I am very calm. The vortex, the very center of the whirlwind, is the stillest. There is tense, anxious action all around me, and I am the center of that tense activity. Yet I am calm. All about me are the thin, brittle sounds of instruments being made ready, the whispers of the nurses, the low, efficient voices of my surgeons, and the surgeon. Instruments, voices, the voice of the chief surgeon speaking to me, only faintly dimmed by the anesthetic.
How do you feel? Are you all right?
Are you all right, he asked tenderly, and I say, fine, all right. When do we start?
We've started. Be a good girl now.
I'm always a good girl, but I do wish you could hold my hand. In darkness, I await my great moment, the moment that will bring me light or leave me in lifelong darkness. But I am calm. Many things swim through my mind. The music of a small girl's voice.
When was young, so neatly as she dressed, and so sweetly
A wisp of music bittersweet. And then, the sudden nightmare of a time long before Paris. I remember Brightwood, my husband's hospital on the shore of the lake, the deep, smooth, fatal lake, the quiet lake that killed my husband. And in my mind, I see again the wild, bereft eyes of Joyce Hudson, my husband's daughter, my stepdaughter. Joyce telling me how it all happened. It all comes back. It all comes back.
Father had been in surgery all day. I suppose he shouldn't have gone in swimming, but he always did. He had a cramp. We finally brought him up from the bottom.
But where was the respirator?
The respirator was gone.
Gone?
It was over at the Merrick boathouse. That young playboy, Bobby Merrick, nearly drowned. He was drunk and he nearly drowned. He developed pneumonia and they brought him here.
Brought him here? Well, I never want to see him or meet him. Because all my life I shall know that because of him, my husband had to die. I shall always hate Bobby Merrick, loathe him, hate him.
Helen, you've got to talk to Bobby Merrick.
I won't.
He won't listen to anyone. He has a fever of 103 and he refuses to stay in bed.
There's nothing I can do.
Helen, you're the head of this hospital now. You must talk to him.
Oh, what have we here? Nice.
Mr. Merrick, you've been behaving very badly.
Oh, shucks, honey, I can't help it if I'm the active type. I want to get out.
Well, believe me, I'd be very happy to see you go. But it's our responsibility to take proper care of you.
Now, look, you don't have to recite the Hippocratic Oath to me. I had 3 years of medical school myself. I wasn't bad either. But I was bored, so I quit.
I'm not surprised. My husband always said that the mere possession of a medical degree didn't make a doctor. It takes humility, humanity, things that you're too selfish to understand.
Now, wait a minute. Are you going to be the next one to tie into me because I happen to be drowning at the same time this Dr. Hudson was drowning? Is it my fault that this whistle-stop hospital had only one respirator? And anyhow, did I ask for it?
A lot of people loved and honored Dr. Hudson.
Sure. And they're all wondering why I should live and he had to die, huh?
Yes.
All right, I'm not worth much, but you might as well face it. He's dead and I'm alive. We're both out of luck. Hey, when do we eat?
I'll have a tray up in 10 minutes.
Oh, thank you.
Mrs. Hudson.
Mrs. Hudson.
With good luck, we may be able to discharge you in a week.
Dr. Wayne Hudson's wife?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Now you know.
I suppose you hate me.
Yes, Mr. Merrick. Yes, I hate you. In the operating room, I feel no pain as the surgeons operate. I feel the dull pressure of their instruments somewhere about my head. The fine surgical lamps blaze for them, but although I am conscious, I am in total darkness. And in that darkness, I think back to the events that are having their climax here.
Mosquito forceps.
Let me remember.
More suction, please.
We discharged Bobby Merrick from the hospital, and I did not see him again for many weeks, nor did I wish to see him ever again. What happened then comes from Randolph, the stonecutter, across from the cemetery where my husband lay buried. One night in a thunderstorm, Randolph was awakened by a pounding at his door. Who should it be but Bobby Merrick, drenched, covered with mud, and of course, very, very drunk.
A ladder.
What can I do for you, sir?
A ladder. Gotta have a ladder.
A ladder, sir?
A ladder, sir. Getting out of my car, I fell into a ditch. So now I'm in a ditch and can't get out without a ladder.
Come in. Why don't you stay here overnight? And in the morning we'll find a ladder and help you climb out of that ditch.
Hey, what are all those statues around here for?
I'm a stone cutter. I make gravestones and such.
Is so? Who's that one over there?
That's a bust of Dr. Wayne Hudson. You may have heard of him.
Heard of him? He's haunting me. First they save my life with Dr. Hudson's lung machine, and then they take me to Dr. Hudson's hospital. And I meet a beautiful girl. Who is she? Dr. Hudson's wife. His widow. Haunting me, that's what.
Tell you what. You get some rest and sleep it off.
Haunting me.
I'll make you breakfast in the morning, and then we'll get a ladder and look for you.
Good morning, Randolph.
Oh, come in, Mrs. Hudson. I've finished the bust, and I'm ready to mount it on your husband's tombstone any time you say.
Oh, thank you, Randolph. That's why I came down this morning.
Mrs. Hudson, Mr. Robert Merrick.
We've met.
Hey, my car stalled last night with a wet carburetor. Randolph here was good enough to put me up overnight.
Randolph, I'm ready to go to my husband's grave whenever you're ready.
Ready right now. I'll get my coat and my boots. Rather muddy this morning.
See, I'd like a word with you, Mrs. Hudson, when you get back, if you don't mind.
I mind very much.
Well, then I'd like a word with you anyhow. You know, it was very kind of you to offer to drive me back to, wherever my car happens to be.
I meant only to be civil, not kind.
I had an interesting talk this morning with Randolph. He thought very highly of Dr. Hudson.
Dr. Wayne Hudson inspired everyone he met.
He did have a remarkable influence over people, I suppose.
My husband understood the one important law of survival. He knew that man could continue to deserve life only so long as he lived to serve others. He believed in the power of unselfishness and in power from unselfishness.
Yeah, it's a remarkable theory.
It's a working, living theory. My husband discovered that Randolph had a talent for something better than carving gravestones, but he encouraged him to continue making memorials for the beloved dead. It wasn't art at first, but because it was in the service of plain, stricken, unhappy people, it became great, as my husband knew it must.
That's very interesting.
Oh, I know. You, to your worldly kind, there's no value in human sympathy, no virtue in unselfishness.
You know, you're beautiful.
Mr. Merrick, I think you'd better get out here.
Well, I've hardly talked to you.
There's nothing further to say.
I haven't had a fair chance to express myself in the unfortunate incident about your husband.
Incident? 1,000 people have lost their hope of happiness and even life itself, and you call it an incident.
Well, I only meant to try to...
Get out of this car.
Oh, why don't you melt?
Get out.
Please, look at that beautiful scenery.
Will you leave this car?
What a view. It's Arcadian. It's classic.
All right, then I'll get out.
Here, wait.
No, let go of my wrist.
Now, listen to me.
Let go, I tell you. Let go.
Oh, come on back. After all, I would... Look out! Look out for that car! Joyce? Joyce, tell me.
I'll tell you.
Will she live?
She'll live. For the rest of her life, Helen will be blind.
Blind?
For as long as she lives. First my father, then Helen.
Blind.
Oh, why do people like you have to go on living? Why? Why?
On behalf of the American Heart Association, the NBC Theater is presenting the Screen Directors Guild production of Magnificent Obsession, starring Irene Dunn as Helen Hudson, with Willard Waterman as Robert Merrick.
normal saline solution here, please.
Yes, Doctor.
I lie in darkness while the surgeons work about me, trying to turn the darkness into light for me again. I know I'm safe with them, safe and calm, and I think mistily of the warm days in the park, feeling the warmth of the sunshine that I could not see. I think of the little girl who used to meet me in the park to help me with my Braille lessons, where I was learning to read with my fingertips, to live in the darkness.
It was on a merry time when Jenny Wren was young, so neatly as she dressed and so sweetly as she sung. That doesn't even make sense to me, but it's your turn.
My dearest Jenny Wren, if you will but be mine, you shall dine on cherry pie.
Cherry pie.
And drink nice
Currant.
wine. I'll dress you like a I'm stuck.
Goldfish.
Oh, no, that can't be right. Can it? Goldfish?
Goldfinch.
Oh.
It's a kind of a bird.
Hello there.
Hello.
Susan, I thought we were alone.
Oh, him? He's here every day. Let's read some more.
No, I'd rather not today.
Tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow.
Well, okay. Take care of yourself.
All right. I'll be seeing you, Susan.
Bye, mister.
So long, dear.
I didn't know anyone was near us.
Won't you let me help you with your reading?
No, I'd be embarrassed learning my ABCs with a grown-up.
Oh, before long, you'll be reading the classics in Braille. I have a friend who collects them. I'd like to bring them to you from time to time.
Oh, thank you, but I'd better learn my Mother Goose first. Are you interested in Braille?
Yes, very much.
You a doctor?
Just took my degree.
Oh, how nice. What's your name?
Robert?
Oh, Dr. Robert. I'm Helen Hudson. Well, now, I'd better hurry home.
I'll walk home with you.
No, it'll be out of your way.
No, it isn't far.
How do you know?
Well, I've watched you every day.
Oh,
May I?
well, yes, thank you. Tell me something.
Sure, anything.
Have you ever been connected with Brightwood Hospital?
Brightwood? Why?
Your voice just seemed familiar, that's all. Day after day, he was there waiting for me, reading to me, as I learned to read with my fingertips. Day after day, he walked with me as far as my corner and no further. He never accepted my invitation to come in the house for a moment, never. Then one day, it rained furiously, and I didn't go out to our bench in the park. He telephoned me, and I was glad, for I had great news for him. But again, he wouldn't come over until I happened to mention that my stepdaughter, Joyce, was not at home. Then he consented to visit me. Only then.
Well, I had to come over when you hinted at this mysterious great news. Now, what is it?
Dr. Robert, I'm going to Paris. 4 famous doctors have agreed to consult over my case. I suppose they mean it as a tribute to my husband, don't you?
Yes, I dare say. Well, then I won't be seeing you for a while.
No, but when I come back, perhaps I'll be seeing you.
Perhaps.
Oh, Helen.
Oh, back so soon, Joyce?
It began to rain so hard I just gave up the whole idea of...
Oh, Joyce Hudson, this is Dr. Robert. You've heard me speak about him.
Oh, yes.
Well, I was just about to go, Miss...
Let me go to the door with Dr. Robert.
Thank you.
Wish me luck.
Oh, I do. From the bottom of my heart, Helen.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bon voyage, darling. Ready, Joyce?
I'll write to you, Dr. Robert.
Goodbye.
Now, what is this, Bobby Merrick?
Don't use that name outside her door.
What's your game, Mr. Merrick?
Things have changed, Joyce. I've changed.
She hates Robert Merrick with all her soul. But she loves a voice named Dr. Robert. What's going to happen when she opens her eyes and sees you?
Perhaps she won't open her eyes.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Joyce, I arranged for those specialists in Paris. I did.
That's even worse. Helen would rather be blind than owe her sight to Bobby Merrick.
Paris and hope. Paris and disillusion. 4 great doctors looked into my eyes, examined x-rays, tested, asked questions, gave up. All the next day and into the early evening, I sat at the window of our hotel, hearing the voice of the city, listening to life and laughter in the streets, feeling so much and seeing nothing, and never hoping to see. Yes, come in, please. Joyce? Is that you, Joyce?
Helen.
Oh,
I had to come to you, Helen.
Dr. Robert, you came all this distance to... Oh, give me your hand. Let me see if you're real, if you're really here. Oh, yes.
Are you so glad?
Glad. Oh. Dr. Robert, I'm not going to see, but it's quite all right now, really. I'm happy. I'm almost happier than I've ever been. Isn't it silly?
No, it isn't silly. And you are going to see.
They say no.
You're going to see the world, Helen, through my eyes. And we're going to start with Paris. I'm going to show you Paris. And I'm going to show Paris you.
All day, day after day, we saw Paris. Paris from the omnibus, the tower, the cathedral. Paris in the dawn, Paris in the murmuring dusk. Paris laughed and made the sounds of bells and violins. Paris glittered and sparkled and shone only as it shines for such as walk in darkness with a lover at her side. Then one evening, on the heights of Montmartre, the song of the city came up to us where we sat, hand in hand, on an ancient stone bench. I sat in darkness, my hand in his, and I was happy.
Helen, you're crying.
I know. Oh, I'm so happy, darling. So very happy.
Helen, could you ever again feel rancor or ill will for anyone? Anyone at all?
Never again for anyone, dearest.
I want you to be very sure, Helen.
I am sure, Robert.
You called me Robert?
Yes, darling.
You know, then,
I've known for ever so long.
that I was Robert Merrick, the man who...
The man I love.
Helen. Oh, Helen, my dearest.
Please, Robert, please don't be humble.
We're going to be married, Helen.
A blind woman for your wife. People would be sorry for you. Oh, no, I couldn't stand that.
Helen, I came to bring you home as my wife. I'm going to do what I set out to do.
Oh, Robert, darling. Let me answer you in the morning.
All right. In the morning, Helen. Remember.
Take me home, Robert. It's like a dream. A beautiful, beautiful dream. In the morning, Joyce and I left Paris. It was the only thing to do. For 6 long years, I did not see Robert again. I heard that he was abroad working, studying, and then one day I received a note from him. Joyce read it to me, only a few words.
Dearest, I am a man possessed and obsessed, but I am not mad, only in love. Wait for me, I'm on my way.
Robert Merrick, M.D.
I feel nothing as I lie on the operating table, only the sure elation of my love and of my trust in the man who works in darkness, calling for instruments. For Robert is with me, a Robert possessed, a Robert inspired, full of the medical wisdom of his years of study and understanding and love. Once he held aside the veil of darkness, and I saw Paris, and he can brush the shadows from my eyes forever, if anyone can. For his is the power and the glory of those who live unselfishly for their fellow men.
Easy, darling. This is the last bandage. Now, Helen, open your eyes. Helen?
Robert, I can see light.
Good. Each day will be brighter until one day soon, all the shadows will be washed away.
Robert.
Darling, you mustn't get excited.
All right, Robert. Can I get excited tomorrow?
The NBC Theater has presented the Screen Directors Guild production of Magnificent Obsession, starring Irene Dunn. Next week, the NBC Theater brings you another great motion picture story with its original team of director and star, John Cromwell and Ronald Colman in the romantic adventure The Prisoner of Zenda. Co-starring with Mr. Colman will be Miss Benita Hume. And now, here again is tonight's star, speaking not as an actress, but as the woman's chairman of the American Heart Association, Irene Dunn.
Thank you very much. As you've been told, tonight's Screen Directors Guild production was presented on behalf of the American Heart Association. Tomorrow marks the beginning of National Heart Week, and a friend of mine has dropped into NBC Theater to tell you a little about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Lund.
Thank you. Thanks, Irene. Folks, next week the American Heart Association and the various local heart associations will be asking you for $5 million. But the real goal of the National Heart Week campaign isn't dollars, it's lives. Close to 600,000 lives which each year are snuffed out by heart disease. That's an awfully large figure, large enough to include you or a member of your family. So when you make your contribution to the Heart Association, you won't just be giving money away. You'll be buying something, research, a program of public education, and the most modern and efficient heart disease treatment to serve your own community. For example, rheumatic heart disease strikes hardest at our children. To protect the youngsters, the Heart Association is setting up an organization to examine the heart of every child in the land. I know the American heart is big enough to protect the hearts of its children. Don't let National Heart Week slip by without helping out. Good night.
Our thanks to Irene Dunn, John Lund, and screen director George Marshall. Also heard on tonight's program were Willard Waterman as Robert Merrick, Barbara Eiler, Ralph Moody, Dan Riss, and Ann Whitfield. Magnificent Obsession was adapted for radio by Milton Geiger, and original music was composed and directed by Henry Russell. Production was under the supervision of Howard Wiley, associate producer Bill Karn. Your announcer has been Frank Barton. Magnificent Obsession was presented through the courtesy of Universal International Pictures, now releasing The Fighting O'Flynn, starring Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and Helena Carter. Irene Dunn is currently starring in the RKO production I Remember Mama, the picture which has won her nomination for the Academy Award. Listen again next week when the NBC Theater presents
Screen Directors Guild assignment. Production, The Prisoner of Zenda. Director, John Cromwell. Stars, Ronald Coleman, Benita Hume.
It's here now. New 98 Super Premium at the red, white, and blue Ingram sign. Power plus economy at your friendly Ingram oil dealers now. Here's a man that really appreciates that new Ingram power.
Take a tip from me, Carlin Hill at the Chicago Bears. I'm a professional plastic saver, and the red, white, and blue Ingram disc is the best catch I ever made. You can get Ingram's new 98 Super Premium gasoline at your friendly Ingram dealers today. This is another forward step by Ingram, a company that is producing for the present and planning for the future. Remember, you get power plus economy when you fill your car with Ingram's new 98 Super Premium. Watch for the Ingram sign.
Get more gold for your dough with Ingram's new 98 Super Premium at the white Ingram pump with the red top. Get Ingram 98 Platinum Treated Gasoline at these friendly Ingram dealers.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Good evening. This is Peter Lorre. Hey, did you ever have a nightmare? Did you ever go through a horrible experience that seemed very real? Yes, sometimes reality and unreality seem as one, and you're not so sure anymore, like the fellow tonight in a mystery playhouse. Yes, tonight we are going to have a nightmare. That is, we are going to hear about somebody else, which is almost as bad. This gentleman had a particularly realistic one. In fact, he didn't know for the life of him whether or not it really happened. But you listen for yourself to the unfolding of William Irish's strange and intriguing story of a man who dreamed he committed murder and woke up to the fact that maybe he actually had. Listen to Nightmare.
Dodge, Homicide Division.
Clip, this is Vince.
Oh, hello, kid. What's on your mind?
Clip, I've got to see you now, as soon as possible.
Look, kid, I'm working. What's so important you can't tell it on the phone?
Cliff, I think I killed a man last night. I don't know whether I dreamed it or it actually happened. That's why I've got to see you.
You killed somebody? I can't believe it. Not you, Vince. Listen, meet me in the office in 15 minutes. Whatever you do, don't tell anybody else about this. Go ahead, Vince. Tell me some more about this dream of yours.
Well, after that, Cliff, all I remember is the white face. The face of a woman. Beautiful, but false somehow. You see, we were in a room with nothing but doors. 8 doors, frame to frame, with no wall space between. Well, I opened one of the doors, and suddenly someone rushed at me. We struggled, and he forced me to the floor. As we fought, he said to the woman, "Hand me that knife." Well, I raised my hand to defend myself, and suddenly I felt the handle of something. I realized the woman had put the knife into my hand by mistake. And then
Then you stabbed him.
Yeah. Then I stabbed him. Well, after that, the woman disappeared, and I felt I had to hide the body. Well, behind one of the 8 doors, there was a closet. I propped the body inside, and I locked the door. Then I went out of the house. It's horrible. I can't get it out of my mind.
But what makes you think any of this actually happened? It's an unpleasant dream, sure, but it's not unusual. Lots of people dream they killed someone.
But when you dream, do you wake up with big scratches on your wrist like this one?
What are you asking me to believe? You got up in your sleep and you killed somebody? A scratch on your wrist proves nothing.
I admit that, but then when I got out of bed this morning, Here, I found this button.
Now, wait a minute. You're not going to tell me that button came off in your hand while you were wrestling with that guy in the dream.
That's the way it happened.
That I refuse to believe. It came off your shirt.
I could never afford pearl buttons. You know that. Not real pearl.
Now, listen to me, Vince. I don't want to hear any more of this. If I weren't your brother-in-law, I'd lock you up and call a psychiatrist.
How do you think all this makes me feel? Cliff, if it wasn't for the key, I could forget the whole thing.
Key? What key? I suppose it's something else from your dream. Now, stop it, Vince. I don't want to hear any more.
That's right. Go ahead. Get sore. But no matter how angry you get, it doesn't destroy the reality of this key. Look at it. You never see a key like this these days. It's fretted, it's full of scrollwork made of brass, old-fashioned, but nevertheless real. And in the dream, if it was a dream, that's the key I used to lock the body in the closet. What's there left to think? Only this. There's somewhere there's a door that this key belongs to. And behind that door, there's a dead man, and I don't know where. My Lord, I don't know where. Or who he is, nor how and why it happened.
Now, look, kid. It's just one of those cockeyed dreams that happen to people, that's all. But if it'll make you feel any better, you can go in the teletype room and watch the reports, Vince. Every crime committed in this state is reported on those machines. Maybe you can identify yourself with some criminal and get this thing off your chest. I'll join you later. Haven't you given up yet?
Don't be funny, Cliff. There's one here that's possible. A stabbing in a town called Clarksburg.
Clarksburg?
Yeah.
There's no transportation up there. You never did learn how to drive a car. You'd really need supernatural aid to kill somebody up there.
Now, wait a minute, Cliff. Here's some more coming in on that stabbing in Clarksburg. It's a description.
Killer, 5'9", weight 150, brown hair, wearing a yellow and green sweater under a brown suit. Hey, Vince, you wear a yellow and green sweater, don't you?
Don't be coy. You gave me that sweater for Christmas.
Maybe it's only a coincidence, but you're about 5'9", weigh about 150. That couldn't possibly have been you, Vince.
Who are you talking for, yourself? I know I found that key and the button in the pocket of my brown suit. You're not kidding anybody. You want to know just as much as I do. Come on, let's get started for Clarksburg.
That lousy rain must be a cloudburst.
I can't see a thing. This windshield wiper's broken. Cliff, do you know where we are?
We've been lost for the past 5 minutes. I don't even remember how we got on this road.
Well, I'm going to roll down the window. Getting wet's better than crashing into something. Hey, Cliff.
Yeah?
Take the next road to the left. That'll get us to Clarksburg.
How do you know it'll get us to Clarksburg? I thought you said you'd never been out this way before.
Well, I don't know how I know. All of a sudden, everything looks familiar to me, as if I'd been over this same road before. I just know you've got to turn left at the next road. Stop here, Cliff! Stop here!
Hey, what's the big idea? You're trying to kill somebody, grabbing the brake that way?
That house, Cliff. There with the big porch. That's the house with the 8-room door.
How do you know that's the house? Thought you said you'd never been out here before.
I've never been here before in my life. Unless
it happened in your dream, is that it? Well, I think this is all crazy. We'll soon know for sure. Come on. We're going in and see whether there's an 8-doored room or not.
Funny the front door wasn't locked, Cliff.
Never mind that. How do you know the 8-doored room is upstairs?
I just know, that's all. Cliff, I think it's this room right here. This is it. This is the place, all right. Count 'em. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
8 doors. Where's that key?
It's right here in my pocket. Now, you'll have to get it out. I can't. My hands are all wet, perspiration.
Stop acting like a baby. You're sweating all over. There's the key. Now, which door?
That one, I think. There's nothing there.
Not now, there isn't. But there was something there.
What?
Look. There's blood on the wall.
Oh, Lord. Now do you believe me? Now do you understand that I wasn't joking when I told you about my dream?
Sure, I believe you. I believe you dreamed you killed somebody and stuffed them in the closet there. I believe you never saw this place before. That you intuitively knew which road to take and which house to come to. What do you take me for, a dope?
I wasn't lying to you, Cliff. Honest, I wasn't lying.
You came to me for help, didn't you? But you didn't have guts enough to come clean to say, Cliff, I went out to a place last night and killed a guy for such and such a reason. No, you cook up a dream trying to take advantage of me because I'm married to your sister.
No, Cliff.
Abusing my gullibility because I like you. Making a fool out of me.
Cliff, I wasn't lying to you. Everything happened just as I told you it did. How I happen to know this house was here, I don't remember. You've got to believe me.
Shut up.
Cliff.
The dream's over now and baby's awake. You're going to start all over from scratch, you and me. I'm going to get the facts out of you.
Please, Cliff, let go of my shoulder. You're hurting me.
What were you doing here last night?
I never was here before. I never saw it until I came here with you.
Don't lie. Every time you lie, you're going to get something like this.
Oh, please, Cliff, I'm half crazy already without you beating me.
Who was the guy you did it to? What was his name?
I tell you, I don't know. I don't know.
Are you going to answer me, Vince?
I can't. You're asking me things I can't answer.
Who was the guy? Why did you kill him? I've handled close-mouthed guys before. You're going to tell me if I have to slap it out of you. Right in this spot where you killed somebody else.
Cliff, please don't hit me again.
What was that?
It sounded like a door slam.
Then there's somebody else in this house. Which door did we come in?
I don't know. One of the 8.
All right, you guys, we've got you covered. Back up against that door there. One false move and I'll drop you.
Haven't you found what you're looking for yet?
Yeah, I guess I've seen enough. The stuff in your wallet identifies you. Cliff Dodge, Homicide Division. Why didn't you say you're a detective?
It's nobody's business.
Okay. Wagner's my name. I'm the sheriff around here. When I see people monkeying around a house where a murder's just been committed...
Murder? You found the body?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there were 2 murders. A man was killed and stuffed in that closet over there. We found the other body outside. A woman. Wasn't dead when she was found, but she was dying. Run over by a car. Deliberately. The car was run back and forth over her body. She said a few things before she died. Told us all about the other body in the closet. And gave us a pretty good description of the killer.
She said the same person murdered the man in the closet and deliberately ran over her body with a car?
No, but what else is there to conclude? Yeah, poor Mrs. Fleming. She owned this house, expected her husband home from South America tonight. She was a flirt, but even so, a very charming woman.
You don't happen to have a picture of this woman, this Mrs. Fleming, do you?
There's one in the next room. That door behind you.
Open the door, Vince.
I can't, Cliff, I can't.
Open the door.
Please, Cliff.
Open the door.
That's her, that big picture on the left. Pretty, wasn't she?
Cliff, that's her.
Well, now what's the matter with him?
He's fainted. Can't stand the sight of people who've been murdered, even if it's only a picture. Give me a hand with him, will you? There. Now, do you feel any better, kid?
Yeah, I feel all right. Cliff, that picture, it was the same woman. The woman from the dream.
Also, the woman who was run over and over with an automobile.
But I can't drive, Cliff. You know I can't drive.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for that, I'd have turned you over to Wagner for murder.
Did the sheriff leave?
Yeah, he left. But I still don't believe that stuff about a dream. Are you sure you didn't leave something out, some small detail?
No. I told you everything, Cliff. I was tired. I went to bed early. I fell asleep. That is right after Mr. Berg closed my door.
Berg? You didn't mention any Mr. Berg before.
Well, he moved into our rooming house about a month ago.
Why did he come into your room?
Well, the lights went on a blink. I remember he was carrying a candle.
How was Berg holding that candle?
Oh, the flame was right in front of his eyes. I remember staring at it. I was very tired, Cliff. I don't remember everything.
And Berg, he said you're very tired, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, now that you mention it, he did say that.
Good. Now, have you ever seen this picture?
No. No, but the man looks familiar. Say, that looks like Berg. I never saw him so well dressed, but that's Berg, all right.
I found this picture in this room.
Here? In this room? You found Berg's... What are you driving at?
Sense, reason, logic, sanity. The man you identify as Berg also happens to be Mr. Fleming, the husband of the woman who was killed last night.
Berg is Fleming and Fleming is Berg? Now I'm really going out of my mind.
It's simple to a flatfoot. I figure that Fleming pretended he went to South America. He took a room in your rooming house under the name of Berg. And tonight he's pretending to return from South America. At least Wagner said he's expected.
And last night Fleming came back here and murdered his wife? But who killed the other one? The man?
You did. But you didn't know you were doing it.
Oh, I did kill someone after all. I am a murderer. I still don't understand how it happened.
All right, kid, relax. Because we're going to find out tonight.
Find out?
Right. Now, if Fleming comes home, as his wife expected him to do, you're going to be waiting in this room for him. Waiting with a gun.
That won't do any good, Cliff.
It might after you've learned a few answers. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what to say to Fleming, word for word. You might not understand, but you're going to memorize the things I tell you to say, word for word.
Memorize?
Yeah, because your life depends on it.
Cliff, you're not going to leave me here alone, are you, Cliff?
There'll be nothing I can do to help you, kid. If everything goes right, you'll come out of this scot-free. If anything goes wrong, that's the end. Now, Fleming will probably come up those stairs at the far end of the hall. So you'd better stand over here. The first thing to remember, let him speak first.
How did you get here?
You showed me the way, didn't you?
You remembered coming here? You're lying. Who brought you here? Who came with you?
Just this gun.
That's impossible. You had the look, the typical look. Why did you do everything you were told to do?
I wanted to see where it was all leading. I thought there might be some good in it for me later.
You purposely pretended? You mean you went ahead and consciously killed?
I figured you'd pay off heavy afterwards to keep me quiet. I found your wife and her lover just as you said I would. It was easy.
I should have known my control wasn't perfect when I saw my wife come running out of the house. She saw my car, came toward me. I waited, then gave it the gas.
I killed the man and you killed your wife. You wanted them both dead, didn't you?
Yes, but I didn't want to have to kill her myself. I loved her, but I hated her. She said I was too old for her.
That's what I wanted to hear.
What?
That's it, to hear you convict yourself.
What did you...
I was lying to you. Your control was perfect. You hypnotized me easily. I guess I've got a weak will or something.
Well, then what are you...
I was lying to you. I was hypnotized, all right. I happened to see your picture here in the house. I recognized you as Berg. And now I can't clear myself before the law ever. And you're going to pay for doing that to me now.
Now, wait a minute. Don't do that. Don't shoot. Now, look. Here, I have a watch. See it? Solid gold inset with diamonds and rubies. It's worth $20,000. It's yours if you'll let me go.
Stop dangling it that way. What are you trying to do?
Now, listen to me. Give me another minute. A minute by the watch.
Stay where you are. Now, don't move.
You don't want to shoot, do you, my friend? You wouldn't want to smash this beautiful, lustrous watch? A golden, shining little timepiece? You can't take your eyes from it, can you?
Please, don't. Take it away. shining in my eyes.
But you love it. You're fascinated by it, aren't you? And now you're tired. You're very tired. And that gun is much too heavy for you to hold. Just drop the gun to the floor. It won't be so heavy anymore.
Just drop the gun. Drop gun.
My control is perfect. Here, take this notebook and this pencil.
Take notebook, pencil.
Write as I dictate. I am wanted for the murder of 2 people at the Fleming house.
I wanted to murder 2 people, Fleming house.
They are bound to get me, so I take this way out.
They are bound to get me. Take way out.
Sign your name. There. Now give me the notebook and the pencil. Now pick up your gun again. Hurry. That's it. Now put the barrel of the gun in your mouth. Put the barrel of the gun in your mouth! Good. Now pull the trigger. Pull the trigger.
How is he, Sheriff?
He's dead.
We just made it in time. I didn't think he'd try anything like that. Vince. Vince. Come out of it, boy.
I'm all right. It's just that everything's hazy.
Fleming really threw a trance on you. You were just going to blow your own head off when I plugged Fleming. Had to. Only way I could break the spell in time to save you.
You shot Fleming? Cliff, did I do it all right? Did I do everything you told me to do all right?
Perfect. I had a hunch it was hypnosis the minute you told me about the candle. But how was I going to prove it? Only by having you come up against Fleming. That's why I left you here. Wagner and I were in the basement with a dictaphone. We put a microphone in the ventilator. I didn't want to make you nervous. That's why I didn't tell you about it.
Then I'm free? I won't be tried for murder?
Not around here, you won't. I'm sheriff here. This crime is solved.
Oh, thank heaven for that. I don't think I could go through a court trial. One nightmare in a lifetime is enough.
That, my friends, was Nightmare. Tonight's performance in a mystery playhouse. And now, for heaven's sake, let's get off that nightmare. Let's walk down to the green room, huh? For a gander at what sweetness and light is in store for you next time. Always sweet, always light. You know it. Our players are rehearsing there, so follow me, please. Come. Come.
It's been hard to convince Anna at first. Easy enough for me to say, we have to get rid of Ole. But Ole was Anna's brother. We talked it over on the cliff near the land that day. We have to, Anna. We have to go through with it.
Oh, Richard, there must be some other way.
The way things are now, everything's hopeless. You know that. With the paint formula cleared, we can be married.
Richard, I love you so much. I'd do anything for us. But this is...
Murder? Huh. You needn't look at it that way, darling. So far as you're concerned, Ole will just disappear.
But suppose something goes wrong. Suppose you're convicted.
Not a chance. You can't convict a man for murder until you find the body. And they'll never find Ole. We must, Anna, we must.
Very well, Richard. When? When will you...
The moment Ole finishes the formula. It's almost ready now. I'll have to do it that instant to make my alibi hold. Today, tomorrow, soon, anyhow. Everything else is ready.
I love you above everything else in the world, Richard. I love you enough for even...
Have a peanut, friend?
No.
Oh, snoozing, huh? Traveling on trains makes some people sleepy. Not me. Been on trains all my life. Never get sleepy. Going far?
Satan's Point, Maine.
Satan's Point? Never heard of it. Must be a devil of a small place. What I said. Satan's Point. Devil of a small place. Good, huh? Have a peanut? Devil of a place. Devil of a place. Devil of a place.
A devil of a place it was that day. We went over every detail again and again until our story was perfect. A lot depended on the story we constructed. A lot depended on telling it well. I told it well. To the police in Maine and to the alienists in Boston. I started the story with the morning of October 11th in Ole's laboratory by the sea.
Hold on. This is my last mixture. It will be ready in a few minutes, and I want your eyes to be well rested.
Think you've got it this time, Ole?
No, there's no longer any doubt. When these pigments are mixed, I will paint a square board. It will look like a dirty green to my eyes.
And to mine?
To yours, and those of millions of others who are colorblind. Red. Red that you have only imagined till now. Red of the rose, red of a sunset, red of fire, red of blood.
I put the blindfold on. I could sense Ole's tenseness. He'd worked 15 years to make this moment arrive.
Just from all I can see, a miracle is about to take place. But I confess to one great fear.
What's that, Ole?
I'm not afraid the formula is wrong. I'm afraid for you.
For me?
Yes. I have to warn you, Richard. I don't know. No one knows what mental reaction takes place when a person who's never seen color before suddenly does.
You mean that I could be affected?
You could be. You see, red excites even normal people. It vibrates in the brain. With you...
Let's have a look, Ole.
Now, Richard, when you take the blindfold off, look straight ahead of you. The board is right before your eyes. Look, Richard. And when you do, start talking right away. I want your immediate reaction.
Okay, here goes.
Look. See, Richard. Look, it's red. Look. Say something. Talk, Richard, talk.
Say something I couldn't. It's hard enough to recall the little that I do. I was staring straight ahead of me at a square board. Nothing happened for a brief instant. And then I caught my breath sharply. My eyes dried. They burned. I closed them, but the patch of exquisite color seared my brain. A single hot, flashing stab of pain pierced my head. And then I felt a surging power, a physical power grip me.
Talk.
And Ole's voice reached me, jabbed at me. My whole being seemed to focus on his voice. I had to choke it off. I dazedly recall reaching for him across something and finding his throat. And then nothing more. Nothing but the breaking of glass and a sensation of violent action. Motion and action that lasted long after the voice stopped. Then I felt cold air lashing at me. I was carrying something limp and heavy. There's a point of rock outside the house. It juts over the sea. I stood there for I don't know how long. The first clear thing I recall is identifying Anna's voice coming toward me.
Richard! Richard! Darling, what are you doing? Richard! Your hands!
Something died in me. I sagged to the ground, moaning. Anna. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
What do you suppose all this is, huh? Sounds like somebody got themselves murdered, doesn't it? Well, that was an appetizer for our next mystery entree. And that old master chef, The laughing boy of the inner sanctum, Raymond, is going to serve it up to you. Yes. Raymond's going to be here next time in company with his fellow creeps in another attempt to scare the living daylights out of you. So why not humor the old creep and be around when we open the squeaking door of the inner sanctum? This is Peter Lorre closing the doors of the Mystery Playhouse. Good night. Sleep tight. This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.
Go first by long distance.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the Conleys live?
Yes, in the White House at the end of the block, on the right. But I'm not sure they're home.
Oh, we called them long distance. They're expecting us. Thank you.
A long-distance call to friends you plan to visit this summer makes good sense. It will save you driving miles and miles, then finding no one at home. Call ahead to make sure of reservations, too. Wherever you go, go first by long distance. Rates are low. Why not call now?
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Twice a day, see your dentist twice a year. Pepsodent presents The Man Called X, starring Herbert Marshall. With the music of Felix Mills. Produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. There's a new Pepsodent toothpaste now. Yes, a new improved Pepsodent with a cleaner, brighter taste that means cleaner, brighter teeth. Try it, taste it, compare it. No matter how many brands you've tried or how faithfully you've brushed, see if your teeth aren't noticeably brighter in just 1 week after you change to new, improved Pepsodent toothpaste. You see, new Pepsodent toothpaste contains twice as much irium, the exclusive cleansing ingredient. New Pepsodent toothpaste with twice as much irium removes the film that makes your teeth look dull, uncovers the natural brilliance of your smile. Try it, taste it, compare it. And now Pepsodent presents Herbert Marshall as the Man Called X, international troubleshooter who flies the ocean at the drop of a hat, who charms the ladies, but is death on crooks. Herbert Marshall as the Man Called X.
Well, all the reviews were good. I know that every single paper did.
Mr. Thurston, did you notice that girl in the chorus?
I noticed a lot of them, Pedro. Anyone specific in mind?
Well, personally, I prefer that brunette in the first row, second from the left.
Don't you mean the one second from the right?
Left? Right? Now you've mixed me all up. There's the buzzer.
Yes, let's go back in. Maybe the second act will clear up your problem.
Now let's see, left, right.
Darling.
I beg your...
Oh, darling.
Yes? Well, this is very pleasant.
Oh, darling, it's been so long.
Yeah, it certainly has.
I simply can't believe it's you.
I'm not so sure about it myself.
Darling, you'll never know how wonderful it is seeing you. May I kiss you again?
By all means.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. But now, lovely one, perhaps...
Take your filthy hands off her.
I beg your pardon.
You heard me. For 2 cents, I'd poke you in the nose.
I'll gladly do it for nothing.
Right on the button, Mr. Thurston. Who is he?
Haven't the slightest idea.
Huh? Well, maybe the lady knows. Hey, she's gone.
Well, easy come, easy go.
You never told me about her, Mr. Thurston. Who is she?
I never saw her before in my life. Now, to see, I take a couple of extra shirts.
Why are you being so mysterious, Mr. X? Why don't you tell us where we're going?
We're going.
Well, I mean, you and me.
Well, I guess that's all I'll need. Pagan, my friend, take care of yourself. Try to keep out of mischief, will you?
Wait a minute, Mr. Thurston. What's the answer?
Goodbye, Pagan.
But you know you always take me with you. In fact, I usually get there first.
So long, and when you leave, don't forget to lock the door after you.
Mr. Thurston, you can't do this to me. Mr. Thurston!
Flight number 26 now arriving at Ramp 2. Flight number 14 now leaving for Paris from Ramp 6. Flight 14 leaving for Paris from Ramp 6. Attention, please. Will Mr. Pagan Zellschmidt please validate...
Oh, no, not Pagan. Not all the way to Paris. Pagan, it's sometimes embarrassing, but I must admit I admire your ingenuity.
In that case, Mr. Thurston, you'll be only too glad to reimburse me for the extra $10 I had to slip to the passenger agent.
Well, I suppose I may as well pay up now. Otherwise, our conversation on the way to Paris will be pretty monotonous.
I know what we can talk about.
Yes?
Look, Mr. Thurston, you're not taking a holiday?
No.
Yes. Well?
Pagan, did you happen to notice the lavalier she was wearing?
Uh-huh, a clue. Who's lavalier?
A girl doesn't usually wear such a magnificent piece of jewelry like that. Unless she...
Wait a minute. Now, let me guess. I have it. The lady who kissed you right in the lobby.
Then you did notice the lavalier.
She was so ravishing I didn't see anything but her.
Too bad.
Why?
I'd like to get a better look at that lavalier.
Well, I don't blame you, but you said you didn't know her. How are you going to find her?
By simply not letting her out of my sight. Pagan, why do you think I took this particular plane?
Mr. Thurston, we've been walking around in circles so long, my feet are dizzy.
So you're not enjoying yourself, Pagan?
Parks, museums, Napoleon's bed. Who cares about Louis XVI snuff box anyway?
Louis XVI?
But he's dead, isn't he?
What would you suggest we do, Pagan?
I'll come down to brass tacks, Mr. Thurston. How you can spend a week in Paris and not even approach that beautiful woman is more than I can bear.
It has taken a certain amount of restraint.
You know where she lives. You know where she eats. You know where she shops. What's stopping you?
I don't imagine the lady would be too pleased if she knew I'd followed her here.
But she wouldn't recognize you, Mr. X. That is, unless you kissed her.
Maybe you've got something there. Yes, let's see what happens.
And now, mademoiselle, may I show you the latest thing in best blouses?
Merci, no.
Perhaps a culotte that are so chic for bicycling this summer.
Merci, monsieur, but that will be all.
Certainement. Such a pleasure to serve you, mademoiselle.
Bonjour.
Darling.
I beg your
Oh,
pardon.
darling, it's so wonderful seeing you again.
But I don't understand.
I didn't either.
Oh, it's you.
Yes, the man in the lobby.
But how do you happen to be in Paris?
The funny thing, that's just what I was going to ask you.
Then this really is a coincidence.
I couldn't think of a happier one.
Well, monsieur, I am happy. This gives me a chance to explain.
Why explain?
But really, monsieur. Monsieur,
Ken Thurston's my name.
I'm Lina Baril. Monsieur Thurston, I really don't go around kissing strangers in theater lobbies.
I'm awfully glad it happened once, though.
Thank you. You see, monsieur, I was a little desperate. I needed a friend, but I was a stranger there. I knew no one.
You made a friend.
I was very aggressive, I'm afraid.
Yes.
It was a gamble. I had no way of knowing how you could respond.
Mademoiselle, you underestimate yourself.
I still have not explained, Monsieur Thurston. That man you knocked down, I had to get away from him.
Someone you knew well?
No, someone I detested. I was very unhappy when he turned up in New York. That night in the theater, he became abusive. You were very kind to play out my little drama with me.
Well, perhaps we could rehearse another scene. At dinner tonight?
That's nice of you. And I would be ungrateful if I did not accept. But, monsieur, it would be impossible tonight.
Tomorrow?
Perhaps the day after tomorrow?
Good. May I call you?
It would be simpler for me to get in touch with you, monsieur.
That will be simple, because I promise you I won't leave the Hotel Grand Palace until you do.
And then what did she say, Mr. Thurston?
Oh, she explained that it wasn't habitual, Pagan.
Then what did you say, Mr. Thurston?
I told her I understood.
Then what did she say?
Tell you later, Pagan. Yeah?
Ready on your call to New York, Monsieur Thurston.
Thank you.
Go ahead, New York.
Hello.
Hi, Chief.
Ken Thurston. What the devil are you doing in Paris?
Sorry I didn't check with you, Chief, but it was sort of personal. You see, a lady kissed me.
Who did what?
She was very beautiful, and I didn't know her.
That makes sense. Go on.
So I thought I ought to know her better.
Oh, that's great, Ken. I hope you're having a wonderful time.
Not bad so far.
Nice of you to call and let me know.
Listen, Chief. If a ring shows up at the bureau, a ring in the shape of a fleur-de-lis, set with diamonds, rubies, and emeralds, will you let me know? It's a long chance.
Hold on, Ken, hold on. Are you psychic? You couldn't know that.
Oh, then it has turned up.
Day before yesterday. How did you know?
Part of the missing Rotterdam collection, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
That's what I thought. Chief, do me a favor. Send that ring over on the first plane.
But, Ken...
Thanks. Tell you all about it later.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
Huh?
Ken, what in the name of common sense are you doing?
Why, Chief, don't you think one kiss deserves another? Bye.
Mr. Thurston, I am beginning to smell a rat.
Already?
So you did get a closer look at that lavalier?
Sure.
And it was a fleur-de-lis set with emeralds, rubies, and diamonds? Uh-huh. You know, Mr. X, this is getting very interesting.
You were beginning to worry me, Pagan, but now that you have that old familiar gleam in your eye, I'm reassured.
Thank you. But what's this got to do with Rotterdam?
Pagan, in 1940, when Rotterdam was leveled by Nazi bombs, one of the largest jewelry collections in Europe vanished.
Uh-huh.
For 6 years, nobody saw a trace of it. But recently, one at a time, these jewels have been turning up in various parts of the world, especially in America.
Why didn't somebody tell me this before? I'm going back to America right away.
Too late, Pagan. I have a notion most of those gems are where you can't get at them. In the bureau.
Why, you don't think I wasn't thinking of myself, Mr. Thurston?
Who else?
Oh. Well, goodbye.
Just a minute.
Did you say something, Mr. Thurston?
Pagan, the last guy who tried to get that lavalier got a punch in the nose. Remember?
You know, Monsieur Thurston, it's little accidents like this that make life so interesting.
Accidents?
I see a strange man in New York. 2 weeks later, he's sitting with me in a cafe in Paris.
That's because you kissed him.
Monsieur, please. You won't take that kiss too seriously.
Would you be here now if I had?
It must be what you call instinct or intuition. I must have known at once that I could trust you.
You put me at a great disadvantage, Leonore.
How do you mean, Ken?
Now that you trust me, my hands are sort of tied.
You know, you're not a stranger. Not anymore. And yet, for some reason, I don't know what to talk about.
Well, there's music, paintings, books. But let's start with you.
Me?
I have a confession to make, Leonore.
Oh?
I came over on the same plane with you.
You did? Then why didn't you?
I had a strange idea that perhaps you'd think I was following you.
Why should I think that?
You're forgetting again. You kissed me.
Oh. And you're not going to let me forget that.
I can't.
I guess we had better find something else to talk about.
We could talk about another favorite subject of mine. Jewelry.
You're a collector?
An admirer. That lavalier you're wearing is beautiful.
You like it?
Very much.
I'm glad it was a gift.
Such a magnificent gift.
My fiancé.
Oh.
Ken, do you mind? I told him you and I would be here for dinner.
Why should I mind?
I'd hoped you'd understand. He was very anxious to thank you for what you did for me.
That's nice. It's very nice.
Am I so amusing?
No, Leonore, you're not amusing. Oh, no, you're wonderful.
Oh, I see. You're very kind. You invite me to dinner, so I reward you with, what do you call it, my boyfriend?
That's the general idea.
I'm sorry, Ken.
Why be sorry? I'm anxious to meet him. I'd like to congratulate him on his girlfriend.
We should be here soon.
In the meantime, shall we dance?
Love. Dancing solves a great many problems, Ken.
Yes, it brings people together.
And you don't have to think about what to say next. You just follow the leader.
I put it another way, Leonore. When anyone follows as gracefully as you do, that's something to talk about.
Thank you. Oh, there's Etienne. Come, Ken.
Bonsoir, Léonore.
Etienne, I want you to meet Monsieur Thurston. Etienne Sapière.
C'est un plaisir, monsieur.
Hello. Sit down, do.
Merci. Monsieur Thurston, it is extremely fortunate that you are in Paris so that I might express my gratitude.
Oh?
Leonore has told me about how gallant you were to her in New York.
Oh, not at all. Matter of fact, it was Leonore's own quick thinking.
Leonore? Oh, yes. She appealed to you for help, didn't she?
I was going to tell
no,
you...
You would have been very proud of her. She handled the situation perfectly.
So?
See, this fellow made a nuisance of himself, so we got rid of him.
Very expertly, I understand.
Have a drink, Mr. Saphir?
Merci, monsieur, but I did not mean to interfere with your evening. I merely wish to pay my respects. Perhaps I may return the courtesy someday, Monsieur Thurston.
I wouldn't worry about that.
It has been a pleasure. Au revoir, monsieur. Adieu, Leonore.
It's very considerate of your fiancé to let us have this evening together.
Ken, I did not tell him everything.
Oh?
I did not tell Etienne that I kissed you.
Well, perhaps it's just as well.
You think so, Ken?
Yes, Leonore, we can keep that little scandal to ourselves.
Yes? Oh, it's you, Etienne.
Did you expect someone else, Leonore?
Of course not, darling.
You enjoyed yourself tonight?
It was pleasant.
This Mr. Thurston, he is charming, isn't he, my dear?
He's very nice.
But naturally he would be.
You didn't mind my going to dinner with him, did you, darling?
Cherie, you are lovely, you are generous, you are sweet. But, ma petite, you are also very naive.
Huh?
Listen to me. This man, this Thurston, he didn't just happen to be in Paris, you know.
But Etienne...
He didn't come to Paris, my angel, only because you are here. He came to Paris because he is the man called X.
No matter how many toothpaste you tried, no matter how good a job you think your present brand is doing, change now to the new Pepsodent toothpaste. And in just 1 week, see if you don't find new brightness in your teeth, new sparkle in your smile. Yes, there's a new improved Pepsodent toothpaste now with a cleaner, brighter taste that means cleaner, brighter teeth. You see, new Pepsodent has twice as much irium, the exclusive cleansing ingredient that Pepsodent and only Pepsodent can give you. New Pepsodent with twice as much irium removes the film that makes your teeth look dull. It loosens film and floats it away, quickly, easily, safely. So new Pepsodent brings new brightness to your teeth. It cleans better between teeth, leaves your breath cleaner, fresher, too. No wonder more people than ever before are using Pepsodent today. So despite any other brand you've tried, change now to new improved Pepsodent toothpaste. And in just 1 week, see the difference. See if your teeth don't feel cleaner, look brighter. See how Pepsodent uncovers the natural brilliance of your smile. And now to return to Pepsodent's Man Called X, starring Herbert Marshall. Mr. X has gone to Paris because a beautiful lady kissed him in the lobby of a New York theater. That is because the lady, Leonore Baril, was wearing a lavalier, which Mr. X identified as part of the missing Rotterdam collection. In turn, Leonore's fiancé, Etienne Saffier, has been identified. Ken Kirsten is the Man Called X, so now the score is even. But Mr. X does not know this. At the moment, he's in his Paris hotel room when there's a knock at the door.
Yeah, come in.
Hello, Mr. Thurston.
I thought you were leaving Paris, Pagon.
On the contrary, Mr. Thurston, Paris. I love it as much as in the summer as in the spring.
Well, Paris will be glad to know that.
Mr. X, I'm happy to inform you, but I warn you it'll cost you money.
When didn't it?
Mr. X, would you be interested in a stick pin?
Not particularly.
I mean a lady's stick pin.
That depends upon the lady.
If it was a fleur-de-lis set with diamonds, rubies, and emeralds?
Congratulations, Pagon. Hand it over.
I haven't got it.
But you could get it if you had the money.
Of course, and a set of earrings to match. Mr. Thurston, it's scandalous the prices they're asking.
Plus your commission.
They won't even dilly-dilly. It's a quick deal, you know. Cash under the table or nothing.
Who is it, Pagon?
Somebody you don't like.
Oh?
In fact, you punched him in the nose once.
Well.
He didn't recognize me, but that doesn't matter because he works for another man.
By the name of Safia?
Yes, by the name of... How did you know?
My spies, Pagon.
Mr. X, you have somebody else working for you. How could you?
Well, for one thing, she's more beautiful than you are.
Mr. X.
Scram, Pagon. Now, will you go, please?
But I just...
Shut up. You want that commission? Get out of here quickly, the back way.
Commission? In that case, Mr. Thurston...
And no eavesdropping. Come in. Leonore.
Are you busy, Ken?
Come in. This is more than I'd hoped for. Please sit down.
I had to see you.
Fine.
I'm confused. I mean, I had to talk to someone. Ken, it's finished. Between Etienne and me.
Leonore.
He's jealous, Ken. Of you.
Because I took you out to dinner?
I've been honest with you, haven't I?
Yes.
I've been honest with Etienne also. I cannot lie. I cannot dissemble. Etienne could read the truth in my eyes at once. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Ken? Or must I?
Must you what?
Darling. Darling, don't make me say it.
Darling?
Yes, Ken, from that first moment. I didn't realize until Etienne said it for me. With that first kiss, the whole world turned inside out. There was nothing left but you.
Leonore.
That first kiss. I was just pretending then. But Ken, I don't want to pretend anymore. Darling. Darling, darling, darling.
Nevertheless, my sweet, that was an awfully good job of pretending.
Ken.
You are still pretending, aren't you?
What do you mean, Ken?
Isn't it about time you told me the real reason for all this?
You don't believe me?
No.
I hate you.
I don't believe that either. Don't, Leonore.
No. No, I don't hate you, Ken.
But you were told that you should hate me, weren't you? Now, you don't have to answer. Just listen. Ever see this ring before?
Ring? It matches my lavalier.
Yes. And with a little trouble and a good deal more money, I'm sure I could produce a pin and probably earrings to fill out the set.
What are you trying to tell me?
Will you mind the outline of a long story?
Go on, Ken.
It starts in 1940. $1 million in jewels disappeared in the ruins of Rotterdam.
Rotterdam?
That
ring.
That Lavalier.
Go on.
I'll go back a few years. In 1932, the Countess Lamoureux lost a diamond at her Riviera villa, an extraordinary stone that should have been in a museum. A man was accused, but evidence was only circumstantial, and he was acquitted. Sometime later, in 1936, Lord Larchmont's fabulous emerald-headed cane was stolen at Brighton. A man was held, but later released for lack of evidence. I could give you other instances if you want.
The man?
Same man. Different names. I could show you his photograph if you wish.
No, King. Oh, I've been very cheap. I came here to... He wanted me... Oh, there's no reason for you to believe me, but... I didn't know.
I believe you. Here, Leonore, will you wear this ring?
But I...
Memory of a kiss?
Okay.
Well, Leonore?
Yes, Etienne?
And how did our inquisitive friend Mr. X respond to your blandishments?
I don't know, Etienne.
Don't know? Come now, Leonore, surely you could tell that. Did he ask any leading questions?
Question?
About me.
He knows about you, Etienne.
So?
He knows you're my fiancé.
Oh. Did he by any chance mention that Lavalier?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
He thought it was very beautiful.
Is that all? Well?
He said it was very beautiful.
You told me that. Here. Let me see it. Take off that Lavalier.
But you gave it to me, Etienne.
Are you afraid I won't return it, my chérie?
I'm not, Etienne. You may have.
Where did you get that?
What?
You know it, I'm talking about that ring. Tell me, where did you get it?
Etienne, you're hurting me.
Where did you get that ring?
He wanted me to wear it.
Oh. All right. Out with it. What does he know?
Etienne, please.
Does he know why I gave you that Lavalier? Why I sent you to America?
I don't know why you did.
No, you don't. But you served me well without knowing. Now that you do know, my precious, it is a tragedy.
Etienne. Oh, no.
Thurston, you... Right on the schnozola, Mr. X. He's out cold.
Tell the gendarmes to come in, Pagan.
With pleasure.
You know, I don't know why it is, Leonore, but every time I'm with you, I seem to poke somebody in the nose.
Mr. X, I've been knocking my brain in, trying to figure out why that man gave the lady the Lavalier since he wanted to sell it.
It was the easiest way to get it to America. Once she was there, a stooge could steal it from her, and Sapphire would still be in the clear.
If only she hadn't kissed you, eh?
That, Pagan, is what is called one of the imponderable factors in the case.
It's a funny name for a kiss.
Come in, Leonore.
I'm not Leonore.
By golly, you're not, are you, Chief? Nice flight over?
Delightful. I just couldn't wait to get here and find out what you've been doing.
You got here just in time.
Oh. Great work, Ken. Great work. Now, what do we do?
You can have your choice. The Bal Masque, the Moulin Rouge.
Huh?
Don't worry, Chief. I'll line up a beautiful evening for you. That is, if Leonore can find a friend.
Our star, Mr. Herbert Marshall, will return in just a moment to tell you about next week's exploit of the man called X. But first, a word about Pepsodent. Try it, taste it, compare it. Change now to new Pepsodent toothpaste, and in just 1 week, see the difference. Yes, new Pepsodent has a cleaner, brighter taste. That means cleaner, brighter teeth. New Pepsodent toothpaste with twice as much irium removes the film that makes your teeth look dull. uncovers the natural brilliance of your smile. And our Pepsodent star, Mr. Herbert Marshall.
Next week, Mr. X is slipping away to a quiet little island off the coast of Maine to enjoy a peaceful vacation, sleep, rest, a little fishing, perhaps. Ah, yes, there are 4 nice ladies, 2 of them young and very beautiful. All very idyllic. But you know what happens when a busman takes a holiday. As usual, Leon Velasquez Pagum will come along and complicate matters. So join us, won't you, when next I return as the man called X. Good night.
Pepsodent's Man Called X is written by Milton Merlin with music composed and personally conducted by Felix Mills. The entire production is under the direction of Jack Johnstone. So until next week, same time, same station, this is Wendell Niles reminding you to change to Pepsodent toothpaste now. For Pepsodent, and only Pepsodent, contains irium. Mr. Herbert Marshall is soon to be seen in the 20th Century Fox production, The Razor's Edge. All characters and incidents used on this program are fictitious. Any resemblance to actual persons or incidents is purely coincidental.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Few products have been received with more universal satisfaction than Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat, the floor polish that's saving so many hours of work every day for housewives everywhere. The reason for this satisfaction is the service Glow Coat gives. How easy it is to use. How beautiful it makes floors of all kinds, especially linoleum. How economical it is to use. And how it saves its cost many times over by making linoleum last so much longer. Glow Coat is called self-polishing because it really does polish itself. It shines while it dries, needs no rubbing or buffing at all. You simply apply Glow Coat with a cloth or long-handled Glow Coat applier, then go on about your other work. In 20 minutes, come back to find your floor gleaming with a hard, beautiful polish. Spilled things are quickly wiped up with a damp cloth. And that's the Glow Coat story, which you can easily verify by trying it yourself on your own floors. Ask your dealer for Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.